All right, here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 24 of the Nerds and Words podcast. This week we are joined by Potion Shop,
Hello.
Kerr,
Yo, what's up?
and Biohack.
Hello.
We got mostly a bunch of interesting global lab stuff to talk about this week, but before we get into that, Potion, how was your week?
My sleep schedule has been destroyed, so I decided to work on music this week. I remastered my entire first album, and I remastered 13 songs for the second album that I've had made for me. So that's basically all I've done this week. I haven't really played a whole lot of BDO. Still working on, I guess, since last week I got 1,500 skill points on my DK, and I'm almost at 1,500 for my Kuno. So that's kind of what I've been up to the last 2 weeks out of the music.
Anyway, you can turn yourself up a tiny bit, Potion. Every week I got people asking me to turn you up, and I can't turn you up any further.
All right, how about that?
That's so much better. Yeah, so how are you liking the music thing? Are you...
Well, it costs a lot of
still digging
money is one of the major problems with it. It is extremely expensive. The time consuming is not so bad, but I feel like it's something that really needs to be done because there's not a lot of good music you can listen to without worried about getting DMCA'd. And the only way you can really, truly not be worried about being DMCA'd is having somebody that you know and trust making music that tells you can have music, that you can listen to their music on stream. And there are music out there, but there just needs to be more variety. It's hard to find something that you truly enjoy.
Yeah, I've been sweating over that a lot, seeing people tweet about getting banned over a clip from 2017 that played like 3 seconds of a song, and it's just insane how Twitch is giving absolutely no cover for its creators at all, and no one is out there negotiating on our behalf or trying to get licensing deals or anything. It's just
I saw that one where what was that guy, Jake and Bake Live or something? It was like 4 years ago. Someone drove by him because he does IRL streams. Someone drove by him playing a Kanye West song, and he got DMCA'd for it. That was kind of crazy.
Yep.
It's kind of fucked.
Yeah, like, I mean, if that went to court, it would clearly fall under fair use, or even like, I mean, it's like, I feel like it doesn't even approach fair use. It's so ridiculous. It's so out of the realm. Like, if you look at the DMCA criteria, in order for something to be copyright violation, it has to be like a replacement for the thing. And there's like several different criteria that it has to fit in order for you to be stealing someone's music or whatever. And it's like someone driving by for 2 seconds with a song in the background. No one's going to go watch that video instead of listening to the original artist. Like, it's just not, it doesn't accomplish anything. But
well, there is a little bit of a retort on this, because a streamer can basically say, hey, I don't agree with this. This is not a DMCA. It can't be legally. And then it puts it back on them to take you to court over it. And if they watch the clip and listen to it, they're like, oh, we would lose a court case over this. So
can we actually do that? I haven't seen any ability from Twitch for me to push back. Like, there's nothing I can submit. Where would I go to push back on a DMCA claim?
So the proper way is to send it back to the person who gave you the DMCA. But if you go to Twitch and you say, hey, this is
how though? Like, you don't get any, all you get is an email saying that like IFBI cucked your clip, have a nice day. Like, you don't get any,
like, your account's banned, so you can't even log in, right?
You don't get any kind of recourse. Like, are you supposed to just go figure all this out on your own?
The Twitch bans are being some of them are being reversed, and so basically what you do is you have to go to the individual who gave it to you though and say, I retort this, right? And they have to have some type of way to contact them to tell them that. There might be a little bit of a process to it. Obviously, anything dealing with legal is extremely
I think
convoluted.
That's very optimistic. I don't think there's any such process. I think Twitch is completely dropping the ball here.
Oh, I agree. I think Twitch needs to do way more than they're doing right now. But to say that there is no recourse at all is not entirely true. There have been several people who've been unbanned who got banned. Like, someone got banned and literally, I think it was like 1 hour later they got unbanned. Because they got 3 DMCAs for the same clip. So they played like one song on stream and someone clipped it several times because they had a lot of viewers. And then once it got clipped, every one of those clips was a DMCA. So yeah, they
What a world,
they just
dude.
got
What a
instantly
world.
banned.
Kerr, how was your week?
My week's been pretty stressful. I got finals in 2 weeks, so I've mostly been like studying and cramming in projects and assignments. Didn't nothing fun. And then other than that, like with my BDO time, I've been having to grind for freaking the Black Spirit Claw pieces, dude. I've gotten 2 in 10 days of like trying to pre-order them. So I've kind of resorted to just like leaving an alt at Peliku jail.
Have you thought about grinding pirates? You can get blue accessories for the event.
Pirate's a lot of inventory management, more effort than I want to put in, but it's not a bad idea, honestly.
Peliku is pretty nice. You get one like every hour or two there.
Yeah, people say that they average at least one every hour on Arsha. I had 1 hour where I got 2 in an hour, and then another hour where I got 2 in an hour. But so it seems to average out to like
That
one
place
every
would really be a
hour.
good grind spot if they didn't flood the Sicily economy. It would be honestly be a very good grind spot.
I just wanted an excuse to go back to pirates.
Hey, the accessory event's probably the closest thing you're going to get for a while.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be enough. It might be enough to go there for like an hour a week, but we'll get into that later. How are finals and everything going? You feel like you're tackling them? You feel like you're ready?
I mean, I guess it's school with COVID's been very weird because like we'll go to in-class classes like once per week, and then like the rest of the week it's just like they record a 20-minute video of them reading a PowerPoint. So like you're not really learning much, I guess, or like you're not being taught much. You kind of just doing your thing, and then like all of the exams we've taken have been like unproctored, even like the midterms. So it's like there's not really the requirement to actually learn unless, I mean, obviously, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that's been cheating their way through. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It sounds like high school, but there's no teacher.
Basically, dude. Honestly,
I couldn't believe how much cheating happened in person in college. I couldn't imagine how much is happening online.
oh yeah, because it's like Zoom, like it's like any proctoring test is on Zoom, so it's like they can't see your screen or anything; they just see you in the webcam.
What's going to physical class like? How do they even do that? How do they keep you guys apart?
They have all the rows and things. There can't be anybody sitting within 3 seats of each other. So there'll be one person, then you skip 3 seats, and another person, then you skip 3 seats, and then like everyone's wearing face masks, and like the teacher's complaining about not being able to breathe every 5 seconds. It's pretty fucked. Nothing done.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad I missed that era of school. That sounds like a blast. Bio, I know a little bit of how your week went. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, dude, my week has been great. Well, first off, this is like 2 or 3 weeks old, but I had mentioned a lot previously on the past podcast. So I finally got my 30,000 Rulipee quest done about 2 weeks ago. So that was super awesome. And then I made a
40K win.
40K win, yeah. When they add another bracket. Hopefully they don't do that. Yeah, and then I made a Fallen God the same night. So that was pretty cool. And then last night I hit a Penturo after 20 failed pen accessory attempts. So it was kind of a bitch, but we finally got there.
Did you cron it or did you raw tap it?
No, you definitely croned it. I croned it, but I downgraded 10 TED accessories out of the 20 that I clicked. 10 or the 20 that I failed because I clicked 21. 10 of them downgraded.
That's insanely bad luck. 20 fails, first of all. You were doing that on what, like a 10+% chance, right?
It's like a 15.5% chance or 15% chance.
You see, you had 20 fails and a 15% click.
Yeah, dude, I've been turbo fucked. I'm 2.5 pen accessories short of what I should have if I had average luck on pen accessories.
My goodness.
I've clicked 38 and gotten 4.
You were ahead on that Tet Dead God though, right? You saved a couple.
The Tet Dead God I did. The Tet Dead God I did in 8 clicks when it would have averaged 17.
So how much money did you save there? Like 20
like
bill?
20 bill. Yeah.
Your RNG is finally averaging out with all those 1 tap plus 15s, huh?
No, my averaging is still 1 plus. Plus 15s.
I'm just making a bad joke. What?
Oh.
How do you think your average luck is, though?
My average on
That's a good
anything
joke,
that
Potion.
my average on anything that matters is super shitty. Like pen black stars and pen like pen accessories has all been crap, but the pen fallen god was really good. So overall, I'd say my luck on like big things has mattered. Obviously, like on regular pens, I'm just getting average luck, and like tech accessories and stuff, it's all average. So
Yeah,
I don't know, but it is what it is.
I mean, as long as you hit that pin fallen god in like less than 1,000 attempts, you're going to be way ahead, right? So you can't complain.
I think it's like if I get a stack to 400, which I think is what I do, it'd be like 985.
Okay.
yeah. Let's give 400.
Or maybe
stack.
like 890 or something like that.
Just
It was something-
890, you know.
Yeah, you
Three
know,
digits.
just like 4-ish billion.
Wow.
Wow. Well, congrats on the belts and the Dead God. I mean, you're kind of back to being hard capped again, right? I mean, other than the pin Dead God, what's the next goal?
Rich Ring. I want to do the Merchant Ring someday, but right now I really want to get the Infinite Potion so I can go grind Deboreka necklaces in Ash Forest.
Okay, so
I did win a base Deboreka last night too on the market. I don't know how. I've had like crazy good RNG when it comes to buying Deberekas. I want a duo, a pry, and 2 bases.
Are there a lot of people ordering those against you?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like 60 orders on bases and like, well, I guess we could look pretty easily, but yeah, it's not that many.
Are they all maxed?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, they are all maxed, so it's total random. Wow.
Yeah, there's 25 have been sold, 58 orders, and I've won 2 bases, so that seems really lucky.
I got.
And you bought the only
I think my
duo?
Timfo is still right on that.
Yeah, I bought the only duo. I don't think anyone else had an order on the duo at the time.
What's your tinfoil potion? Is this because he did Miramax? Is that why he's getting all
I
these
think
duos?
that it's RNG when it gets to the very top, but it's weighted RNG, and so I think that it tends to favor the first person in line a little bit more. That way, it's not like a guarantee, but at least you'll have a higher chance of getting it eventually.
There were a lot of people who were ahead.
Definitely was not the first in line though.
Yeah, because I'd won
Yeah.
one. Like the first one I won was probably close to the first in line because I put it up right when it came out. But the second one I won, I put up like a few weeks ago after I won the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
potion.
I mean, everyone's welcome to their own tinfoil. All right, I'm not trying to force mine on you. But I think it's interesting anyway. The reason I originally thought it was because we had to do testing for pin accessory pre-orders. Snake was curious about it, and some people in Snake were testing it along with myself and a few others to see if it was truly just first come first serve or just 100% RNG. And our conclusion was obviously on a small sample size that had a small weight to it. But how much it's weighted towards first come first serve or whatever, and if it's maybe it's just our placebo effect too, working out in effect.
It is for sure. It's been tested by so many people so many times. So,
Mora, what was in your week? Let's move away from my tinfoil. Let's go. Come on.
My week was okay. So Kunark dropped last night on the free EverQuest Classic server that I've been playing, so that's been super nostalgic and fun. I'll probably play that a bunch more today. I beat the Doom Eternal DLC on Nightmare. That was a bit challenging, but ended up not being as bad as I thought. The last boss was kind of a joke. And then honestly, I feel like there was something else that I did this week, but I can't remember what it was. I've mostly just been messing around with the T10 horse stuff. I tried getting mythical feathers from Lakiaro. I went and did a 5-stage, got a primitive Lakiaro which did not have a feather in it after opening a couple 4-stage bundles, which also didn't have feathers. So I've yet to get a feather from any Lakiaro, even a perfect 5-stage clear. And honestly, it kind of just makes me not want to even bother with T10s. Like, it makes me just want to put an order up for the feathers and then just make attempts when I get them. It makes me want to not actually try, though. The fact that a 5-stage Lakiaro isn't a fucking guaranteed feather is so infuriating, and it's such a missed opportunity to make like a cool part of the game relevant again.
Yeah, because
That's
what's the max income per hour on that roughly?
on Lakiara. I mean, if you're a god, it's like 150 mil an hour,
Yeah, it's
and
not even
that's
anywhere
like,
close.
yeah, you can just go get some mid-tier gathering gear and crush that, and you'll be getting more consistent feathers as well. So why would you ever do Lakiara when gathering is just clearly better in every way?
Mm-hmm.
So that's been frustrating, and I've been taking out my frustration by playing other games. So we'll we'll see. I'll probably get into life skilling and gathering some more, and just use the petals that I get from that and try to get some off the market. But it's crazy how much more feathers EU has sold than NA. They're selling like 2 to 3 times more than us.
That life
So
skill kicking in hard, huh?
yeah, way more people life skilling over there. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew that it was more. I didn't realize it was 2 to 3 times more. That's crazy. Or maybe they just have less T9s, so they haven't bothered to go for it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, think of it this way though: they don't have as many T9s because they can't buy costumes to cron, right?
Yeah, that might be part of it.
So they can't buy
I mean-
costumes to cron the T9 attempts, right?
The T9s don't require that many crons, though. They could just buy vendor crons.
Vendor crons.
They could. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I mean, a lot of it has got to be just stockpiles too. Like, I think going forward, the petals and the feathers are going to be a lot less available because people have like 6 months worth of petals that they just dumped into this, and now the stockpiles are all cleaned out. But yeah, we'll see how far away the two regions are split in a couple months. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah,
I know you've looked at the math a little bit more. Like, how many hours are we looking at if you're starting from scratch to get a feather, roughly? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, so it's about 1 feather every 30 petals, we think. That could be a little bit off, but it's probably close enough. And we figured out that you get, I think, like 3 petals an hour if you're at 1300 mastery, 6 an hour at 1800, and 8 an hour at 2000, according to Byrog's calculator. So
wow.
for most people, it's like 70 hours of gathering per T10 attempt, plus all the other shit you have to do, the dailies and everything.
That's brutal.
in
Yeah, and
grinding,
for
it's
like
crazy. It's like
yeah, for grinding, it's even slower.
I guess you just kind of got to view it as some like extra shit on top of what you would have normally done, as opposed to like actually going out and trying to do it. It's kind of like a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, if you are someone who is already hardcore into gathering, then it slots perfectly right into what you're doing. But like I said, it's a disappointment for me because this was going to kind of like re-motivate me to start doing Lakiaros again. I was going to make a YouTube guide and like, hey, Lakiaros back, and it's just not.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a missed opportunity of making, like, it basically doesn't make any new content worth doing.
Right.
Like, you pretty much just like, okay, you've got a little bit of extra shit from stuff you would normally do.
It makes
And like in my
horse
case, like
training-
there's no way I would ever spend 70 hours to do one or T10 horse attempt. So it's just like, because I don't grind and I don't gather, it's just like, all right, well, I guess that's just not in the cards. I'll put a buy order up and hope I win one in 10 years.
I do think they did a good job bringing horse training back in some regard. It's at least worth like, catching horses and leveling up your training and doing Imperial Horse for the Flower of Oblivion. They kind of made that a little relevance again.
But it sounds like the flowers are not going to be limiting once we run out of the stockpiled petals, right?
Right. Yeah. No, the mythical feather is definitely the limiting factor. But at least there is a little bit more reason to do horse training now than there was before.
I wish they would uncap the feather or make it go up to 100 mil or something, because that would really incentivize a lot of people to go into life skilling and would fill out the economy both in Caphras and in a lot of other regards too.
Uncap that, uncap Caphras, uncap a lot of things. I think they're just afraid of making gathering too good.
I mean, I think it's okay that it's a pain in the ass to get. That's kind of cool. I just hate that there's no like bad RNG protection, because with the T10, you don't even get a higher success rate if you fail. And let's say if you're at peak efficiency and doing 2 attempts every month, there's like a large percentage of people that are going to get turbo fucked and won't even have it 3 years from now, even if they do the 3% swing every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's like the
that's
biggest thing for
24
me.
swings. That's 24 swings a year, right? Did I do that math right?
If
Yeah.
you're being perfect and you're gathering for, dozens of hours a week and
Yeah.
doing everything else.
Yeah,
other-
the perfect peak efficiency. is
So
2.
how long does it actually take you on average to get one? A year and a half, roughly?
For most people, if they actually went ham, it would be a year and a half. I mean, realistically, for someone who like doesn't play the game 30 hours a day, we're probably looking at 2, 3, 4 years.
My
Good luck.
goodness, that's such a long time.
Yeah, we'll see how many people are even still playing the game at that point.
I guess they're planning on the BDO being around a long time with those type of odds.
It's
And
just a
then
lottery. It's not a
you can't
realistic goal.
even
It's literally a
sell it.
lottery.
Yeah, then you could
Like,
sell.
you can't even sell the T10 horse, so it's like
You could turn into Imperials though. You know, all that hard
Yeah.
effort turn into Imperials. The fact
That's
that you
true.
get Imperial, it is crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm glad they left that in.
Speaking of Imperial, you think they'll ever put a T10 horse in the Imperial auction?
I think they should.
I think they should put literally anything in the Imperial auction house. They did it one time and then they just forgot it was in the game.
I wish it would be really cool to have like rare stuff going in there like all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before we move on to patch notes and stuff, something that I want to quickly go over. Tim is not here this week. He is banned for 7 days on Twitch. Everyone at this point knows about the drama between him and Joe. We've kept it off this podcast, and we're going to continue to keep it off the podcast. It's beyond the scope of what we're doing here. All I really want to say about it is, no one was there except for Joe and Tim. All we have to go off of is what they have told us about it. I personally hate the fact that two people who I consider friends are, got into a fight like this and that things escalated the way they did. I think that everyone, including Tim, knows that Tim took it too far this week. He knows that he deserved the ban. He's taking it, in stride. He's not complaining about it or saying that he got, treated unfairly. He knows that he went a little too hard. He knows that he deserves to be gone for 7 days. And so that's what's happening. If you care about this drama and you want to hear any more about what's going on, both of them have made final statements about it on their YouTube. We're not going to go into it here. We're not really interested in hearing people argue about it in chat or anything like that. Nobody here thinks that like violence is cool or something that should be celebrated. And I think the whole thing is pretty fucking stupid. I hope we can all move on from it. And that's kind of all that I have to say on the topic. Does anyone have anything to add to that?
I think I'd echo the same thing you just said. Well done.
Yep. I agree 100%.
So now let's get into the actual BDO stuff this week. Has anyone fought Bloodstorm Maneuver yet?
Nope. I actually, what's the rewards for it? What are the rewards for it? Is it like a Tet Nuver still, or is it like something else?
Yeah, you can still get a Tet Nuver. I don't know if there was anything other than that that's like unique. Does anyone?
I don't think anyone has done it.
Yo, I missed it, dude. Because like after that last Nightmare's Arc I went to, where she like just didn't spawn, I was like, all right, dude, whatever.
Yeah, there's some of a weird bug going on with it. Yeah, I've heard it several times about it not spawning. It's like particular channels though, right?
Yeah, apparently it's channel related, so like it can spawn on some channels, but not on other channels. I don't know.
Wait, did it make it RNG like field bosses?
No idea, but they extended the or the scheduled spawns by a week or two just because it was an issue, but they didn't say anything about like if it's intended or not.
I think Alon's is reliable because that's the whole thing. That was the whole reason why Nightmare's Arca originally wasn't popular, just because like you have to know if it's going to be worth your time to go there or not. And so the same thing's true if it's like RNG.
A lot of people are saying that they just show up and lose their crystals, so it seems like something that maybe you bring your alt to.
Yeah.
How do you guys think they should solve that problem? Do you think that world bosses should break crystals? Because I feel like there should be some kind of DPS race on bosses to get like that. That's what used to make bosses like part of the fun was trying to be top DPS so that you'd have a better chance of getting a box. And now it's like even if you're top DPS, your odds of getting a box are kind of not worth the risk of like the crazy crystals that we have at stake, because we didn't have any of these 300 mil crystals back then. If you lost
losing two Elcars,
like it wasn't the same back then. you would tier your XP and then you would go get another power crystal or whatever. But like, it wasn't that big of a deal. It would suck, but it wasn't like
I think
hours and hours of work.
I think the punishment should be, there should still be a punishment for dying, but instead it should be reduced loot. So you go there for loot. If you do more DPS, you get more loot, and if you die, you get less loot. And so
I actually like that.
Yeah, and it does the same thing, because that's the whole goal of you dying, is that you're supposed to have some small price to pay, and if it's relative to the world boss itself, then it's always balanced.
Do you think they should show people where they're at on the DPS chart, or do you think that they should keep it hidden?
I think they should make the hunter seals more obvious, so that people can tell. So if you get in if you're in baby loot, you get less than 10. If you're in good loot, then you're 10 or higher. And if you're in the top 10%, then and you're in that special loot category or whatever it is, then you should get 50 or something like that. That way, it's very obvious to people who are out there, and it can just be insider knowledge that can be traded amongst guild members and stuff. That'd be a fun little communication tactic. I mean, that's what it used to be, was hunter seals, and it still is like that now. But it's just nobody knows about it because the hunter seals are 1 to 7 or something very low.
Do you think there should be guaranteed loot if you're top DPS?
You should get a better chance. I mean, the way they did it before, I don't know if it's still like this, but there was a top 40, a top 70, and then an everyone else. So there was 3 brackets.
They talked about it a long time ago, Moro. They said that the last time I heard anything about it is there's still top loot and middle loot and bomb loot, but the middle portion is 80% or something like that, and then the bottom 10% is terrible loot, and the top 10% is higher. That's I'm just pulling numbers out my ass, but that's roughly how to think about it. That's what I heard last.
Yeah, I just don't know how that's changed now that bosses have global health bars and stuff. But I do think that it would be cool if it was more obvious where you were, on the DPS, because it should be a performance meter, right? It should be a combination, like you said, of your damage and whether or not you're dying. There should be mechanics involved in getting the best loot, and you should be able to rank yourself against other players, and it should be something you can practice and improve over time. That would make the bosses a lot more interesting than just show up on your season character and hit it once and roll the dice.
I think the solution to that is, like I said, hunter seals, but if they need to make it where it's more obvious that it's hunter seals, then they should drop hunter seals as you're doing damage to the boss, and the more damage you do, the more hunter seals he drops. So as he's lowering his health gets lower and lower and lower, you'll get more hunter seals, and they'll drop loot, like a pinata type deal. And so then by the end, you can count up and see how many hunter seals you had, and be like, oh, okay, I know roughly where I sat on the damage table this time. Maybe between 1 and 100 or something. I don't know.
On BDO Mobile, they basically you don't lose any progress or experience or anything when you die to a boss, but you get a 60-second debuff that drops your AP, so you do less damage, and they straight up tell you the more damage you do, the better loot you get. And so when you die, you get a penalty to your damage going forward. And so you know that even though you respawn instantly and you go back in the fight, you know you're doing less damage for the next 30 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever. And so you know you're being penalized to some degree.
Yeah, it's also pretty good. Yeah, they need something like that. I mean, we could say we go one way or the other in how they should do it, but there's they definitely need something to make it a little bit more obvious that that's happening. Or explain it.
I mean, especially since you're risking crystals, right? Like you said, since they're so expensive.
That needs to be. They just need to remove that. It's such an old mechanic. It was before we had even Wanbons and Jins, before Kama Sylvia. It's it's just so outdated now.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. Is that crystals are not a joke. You can lose 1 billion silver worth of crystals very easily.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I learned this the hard way at Sawsons. Even if you're 1 karma less than maximum, you get a increased penalty to crystal loss. Basically, the lower your karma drops down closer to 0, the more crystals you can break. You can break up to 3 crystals if you're even positive karma, and then it continues getting and once you get below negative karma, it goes up to 5 you can break. It just gets into that's just kind of, it's really ludicrous. You could break up to 5 crystals, and that's obviously negative karma, but still, it's pretty crazy. I learned this Assassins because I obviously died a lot to people in PvP there, and when I died, and sometimes the mob would kill me and get the last hit, and If I was full karma, I would almost never lose a crystal, or maybe lose one. But if I was just a little below max karma, like we'll say 50k or 100k or something like that, I would lose like almost every single time 2 to 3, somewhere in that neighborhood. Obviously RNG, but it's I don't know. I think the whole thing needs to be reworked. I think like when you kill somebody in PvP, we talked about this before, but it should be like a longer respawn timer or something. I feel like that seems a lot more appropriate. What do you guys think about open world PvP at world bosses? Actually, though,
I miss it, dude. I miss when clans used to lock that shit down and grief each other out of the way.
I think that they should have disabled open world PvP, but enabled guild PvP. I think that makes a lot more sense.
That's a decent compromise. I still think it should just be completely open. I mean, if someone wants to lose the karma to wipe out a channel, then more power to them. But the karma penalties are so fucking crazy, anyways.
I kind of like it. I remember the days when like different guilds would lock down different channels, and you'd always have that that confrontation there. But
yeah, added an extra layer of complexity to the game. So you would know that sometimes, okay, don't go to Valencia 1 because Black Rose is going to be there, or fill in the guild name, right? And I think that type of thing is kind of missing now. It's like you're playing an MMO, it feels like, but you're not playing with anybody else, is what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only place you have that interaction nowadays is on bartering. So like everybody knows, like, don't barter on Media 3 on NA because you're gonna get sunk by BDO Navy, you know?
Yeah.
To have that on land, it's like, oh well, don't go to Media 3 Sawsons because that is Black Rose's area or that is Barcode's area, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Back on
I do think that type of thing is really cool.
Once upon a time.
All right. Well, we'll get into we have some more things we can talk about. Let's see, for PvP in the Global Lab. But their next topic is Mischievous Jack. So I actually like this. They improved his movement speed. They made it where the item you get is now a permanent item. So you can just turn into Mischievous Jack whenever you want, which I think is kind of cool.
It's huge, dude. Absolutely huge.
I mean, I think the thing is, if you're going to suffer through that daily that many times, like you deserve to be able to turn into a Jack whenever you want, bro. So I mean, I think the reason I put this in here is more for the fact that it's just proof that they actually listened to feedback and immediately did an update for it, and so this kind of gives me hope that this might happen with other areas in the game as well. That'd be really nice.
Dude. That's why I'm mauled whenever I read this stuff, because I'm like, okay, they clearly know when people are annoyed about something, but the shit they choose to fix and the shit they choose to ignore, I just can't understand like how they prioritize these things.
I don't know. I think that maybe this comes down to whoever, if they have the team that's bored right now and they're like underutilized, because you always know in game development, like some teams are way overworked and some teams are way underworked. And so maybe if we have an idea that happens to be for the team that's way underworked, like, oh, hey, I got something for you to do,
Yeah, they did like 2 really big changes this week that people have been asking for the recent times. So like, it kind of surprised me how they pick and choose what to change. I mean, we'll get into it because once we go over the Global Lab notes, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I do think that again. Every time I feel like they're getting close to this Caltheon ball, which we can talk about later. I forgot to put that in there. I feel like they start doing some of these updates to kind of bring back the players' faith a little bit, and then they usually end around like February. So after everything's done and said, I'm curious to see. I hope this is a sign of things to come, though. And I do think they're going in a better direction. Like, do you guys think they've gone in a better direction in their last year or two compared to the first 2 years of BDO?
No, absolutely not.
I do.
I think
really?
Yeah.
Hell no, dude. No.
That's fucking insane.
I think there's some things they have done a way better job on by taking player feedback and like iterating on that a little bit. But I think there's some things they've done way worse on. Like Node Wars obviously have done way worse. Like they unquestionably done way worse. But I think
the starting experience, especially in the new player experience, is way better than it's ever been, for sure.
I think it's somewhat better, way better.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you're hearing from people who are coming back. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that Lazy Peon video about him coming back to the game. having a really good time. Yeah, I think people have had a really good experience coming back, especially with Seasons and stuff.
Mhm.
Seasons was sort of a disappointment for veterans, but I think it's been really popular among returning and new players. I really like all the more interesting stuff they've added to the game in terms of like long-term goals. Like that's like the main reason I play BDO, and what I love BDO for is like setting long-term goals to go out and achieve. So the potions are great, the infinite or the merchant ring is great, the costumes are great. Like, yeah, I really like all that stuff. Even Rulupi, like as much as a pain in the ass as it is, like as a concept, I like that kind of stuff.
The fact you use Rulupi as an example for them going in I don't even know where we find common ground on that.
I think it's just like a different
Twilight Zone to me. That's so
a
fucking
different
wild.
era, right?
But like, I mean, that's the thing is like, I like those kind of like long-term kind of goal stuff. And yeah, I mean, I guess maybe Rulupi is a bad example, like for if you don't like that kind of content. But
all I want
I
is
don't know.
long-term goals, but that's my problem is that they can't seem to set the goals up in a way that's anything other than tedious and just a chore, man. Like,
I mean, it's up, but you don't have to do it. Like it's for 99% of the player base, it's not even worth doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, Rulupi, like unless you want that +5 stack, doing Rulupi
it's
is
the
a waste of
most
time.
worth thing in the game's history by far, and it's also the most boring and tedious. Like,
Most worth? How?
Well, you have to be a biohack for it to be
a
most
permanent
worth.
+5 stack for like
Yeah, for for
100 hours
me.
of work?
I mean, you save yourself 1 million silver every time.
If you
No,
compare
for
that
me
to
it's fucking
anything else
huge.
you
But
did,
like 90, but like how many people are enhancing for 40 hours a week? Like
Bro.
that's the kind of level you have to be at before it becomes worthwhile.
yeah,
at all.
again, but that's not because of how rewarding it is. That's because enhancing is another thing in the game that's tedious and boring. It has nothing to do with how worthwhile or rewarding the activity is.
Well, I think that's a difference in like how you guys enjoy video games, right? Biohack tends to go for like the fun factor for him is the silver accumulation and like the rare item accumulation, right? For you, it's
Yeah.
more about the like meaning behind everything, right? The PvP, like why you're doing the PvP. Who's versus who? Why do we hate each other or like each other? Or why are we working together or against each other? And you're more like social dynamics of everything, which is I think where a lot of people want in an MMO. And Biohack's more about
But I
long-term
mean, even
goals.
like even if you consider like the social dynamic stuff, like they've added a lot more group grinding content that's reasonably viable. Like Olan's is
Mhm.
pretty good, Turos is pretty good, Paddox is not bad. So I mean, like I don't know. I feel like as veterans of the game, sometimes we got to take a step back. I think the game has been like I think they've done a lot of stuff. They definitely could do a lot more. They added the 1v1 arena. That's really nice. I don't know. I think you got to give them a little bit more credit.
I think it's
give
just
them a
more
little bit of
being.
credit. I give them about 20% credit on all this stuff because that's how much they deserve. Because everything they implement is 1/5 as good as it could be if they just tried a little bit.
I agree with that. They could like make very minor tweaks to all these systems that would improve them by like a factor of 10. But
I think just sometimes we're just jaded by the experience that it used to be. So like back in like 2016 when it was, multiple servers and every server had its own dynamic, it was like when you start playing the game, every guild owned a channel. So it's like, oh, I'm going to go grind ogres to try to get an ogre ring. I've like never seen one of those. So you're going there, you're grinding for ogres on Media 3. Next thing you know, like 6 barcode rangers come out of nowhere and just like beat the shit out of you. So then you're like, okay, well, fuck it, dude. I'm gonna go back to chimeras and grind and get my gear up. Coming back a week later, we're gonna fight again. It's like it was like a completely different new player experience. So like I understand. It's like it just could be just like jaded old players, I guess.
this is going to be another take that people don't like, but like you guys have some serious rose-colored glasses on old BDO too, because old
I agree with
BDO had some
I have-
dog shit systems on it. Like the old marketplace is enough to like make old BDO almost as an entire game like kind of shitty. Like you guys forget trying to buy 10 memory fragments at a time for like 4 fucking hours to make any progression.
Are you kidding me, dude? That market was lit. That was
Okay,
the
maybe for you.
No, I'm not talking about the economy. The economy under old BDO was great, but the UI, I'm talking about the UI was so bad that like you couldn't make progression because you had to buy memory fragments, 10 fucking memory fragments at a time, and it took you like 2 hours to get 100. Like,
yeah, but I
let's
think
not
those are
forget
just
about that kind of
numeric
shit.
changes they could have done, right? They could have just gone into the game code and said, "All right, now the max amount you can buy is now 100," and it would have solved
Yeah.
that problem. Like, I
No,
think
they did that. That's what they did in current BDO. That's one of the
Yeah,
reasons
but
why
I don't-
BDO is
but
better.
Shark was 6 mil though.
but
No
I mean,
one's
those are
nostalgic for
those
the
are
old UI, dude. What are you talking about? The fucking UI? That's not
No,
what
no,
we're
no, no, no.
talking about when we talk about old BDO.
No, I know, obviously. But my point is that you remember the good stuff and you're forgetting all the really bad stuff. That
yeah. There's like
existed in old BDO.
they've done a lot of quality of life without. But quality of life, I think, is why a lot of people like that's icing on the cake, right? Quality of life is not why you play or don't play a game. And so I think the reason why Moreland, myself, and a lot of other people that are veterans of BDO don't enjoy it as much is because they do a lot of the quality of life stuff, which is good, but that's not enough to keep you enjoying the game.
I don't know. I mean, again, this is all like personal preference. Like,
Sure.
I would way rather play BDO in 2020 than I would in 2016. No question.
Man, I think the 2016
That's a hot take. Wow.
so much better. I would actually take all of the quality of life downgrades and the shitty market UI and the CAPTCHA system. I would take all that back if it meant that I got to play the plus 15 era of this game again instead of the current one.
Yeah, I think I probably would too. And it's not, and the reason that, and most of those things are very simple though. Like the open world PvP between guilds, the rules on that were way different than they are now. Your guild is not ready. This guild is not ready for war or whatever is a stupid system. Losing a random amount of karma in open world PvP is also terrible. On top of that, like,
Using XP in PvP? Oh shit! Fuck leveling. You can't level past 60 or do anything if you're gonna lose XP in PvP. That was terrible.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of quality of life changes, but I think that
I mean,
overall,
like teach their own. This is all personal preference, but yeah, if I was coming into BDO, I would rather play BDO 2020 than BDO 20. It's not even really that close for me.
I do think the first 6 to 12 months right now in BDO are like great. If you're starting the game for the first time and playing it, the game's in a really good spot. I just think it's not for people who are playing further than that.
Well, and when we see that even in players, right? They keep doing these new player pushes. Like, hey, you know how many tens of thousands of people tried BDO when season 1 and 2 came out? Both those, like, so many. And you can see how many people came back for a Guardian and like started playing it because of like everybody knows who's an MMO or knows what BDO is now. They've tried it. And the fact is they haven't maintaining those players because they don't have a very good veteran player experience. And when your game gets older, you can't just appeal to the new players anymore. You have to appeal to you have to have some type of appeal to veteran players to maintain them, and that's what they're lacking really right now is that appeal to veteran players. I
don't know. From a business standpoint, I think they're probably doing fine, ignoring veteran players and just focusing on new players. Because new players, it's easier to get new players to spend money than it is to get people who have been here for years and who have already bought everything. Like,
sure.
I'm sure that whatever the churn is worth that for them, like from a business standpoint, it's probably always going to be better for them to just focus on pumping out new players and then getting them to quit in 6 months rather than trying to convince someone to stick around for 4 years.
I guess what I'm saying is like right now it feels like there's like a 80-20 split, right? 80% of the effort's gone on new players, 20%'s worked on like veterans. I'm just pulling
That's
random
probably
numbers.
the revenue split too. It's probably 80% new players and 20% veterans.
I just think that as your game gets older, it should slowly start working towards maybe like more towards like 30%. And then maybe after 7 years, you're at like 40%, right? And eventually you're at 50-50 and you just do 50-50 forever.
My argument is that they could easily be doing both and that they're not mutually exclusive. That's why I've been so critical of the game lately, because I think that there are systems that would serve new and veteran players. And it's almost like they are intentionally ignoring their loyal players and fucking them over in favor of trying to churn out more new players.
It's just weird because I feel like the things they need to do are not big changes. Like, I don't feel like they need to make it like revitalize the whole system. It's like maybe we just make the hunting in Odalita not shit. Like, like spend 20 minutes fucking balancing it, and it's like, oh, now we have new content for our own players, and it's like you spend out like how much money developing this content to not even like bother to actually take that like 5% of the work to actually get it, to be interesting. That's the problem. There's so much shit in this game where it's like, it's interesting and they did all the work and could be really useful, and all the systems are already there. They just need to actually be balanced to be worthwhile.
Yep. I think
Yep.
that's.
They
I think the vast
literally
majority of
do.
it. Yep.
That's a perfect way of putting it. They literally do 95% of the work, and the 5% they leave out is the most important 5%.
Why'd you have to bring hunting into this, dude? That's personal, man.
Hunting's such a good example, man.
Yeah.
Well, no, but but no, exactly. That's why it's such a good example, because it's personal. Like you, Kurt, it's like, like they were almost there. They almost added really great content for new players, and they couldn't be bothered to actually just fucking make it decent. It doesn't even have to be good.
Lamborghini body with like a Ford Focus engine, bro. Like it's all good on the outside. The different mobs and everything are nice, but like functionally,
yeah, exactly.
Jesus,
Bro, those rhinos, I was looking at those look fucking cool, man. I wish you could hunt them.
Yeah, the whole area is sweet, man. It's like another Navern Steppe almost. It looks good. Like the mobs, they clearly spent some time and hired some artists and spent all the money, and then they just couldn't bother to make it actually playable.
I actually, after going through Odalita, I really wish that they would make all the monsters hunting monsters. Like this, make it hunting where hunting is all meat, and then gathering is all everything that's not meat. And I feel like that because it was so weird seeing some rhinos that I could hunt, and some rhinos that I didn't. I could like kill for knowledge. It was just like it felt really strange.
They've done that in pretty much every region, though. You've got like the feather wolves and then the hunting feather wolves in Common Sylvia. Yeah, I don't know. Saving money, I guess. Reason the same model.
Yeah, they're really an indie company, so makes sense.
So what happened with the guild silver thingy? They gave silver back to some guilds?
So the guilds that didn't abuse it or anything, which were, I think there was 4 of them, they removed silver, and now this week they got them back. The proper amount of silver they got back, I guess, was given to the guild. So that's kind of nice.
Like the guilds got super payouts, but they didn't get their regular payouts, so they took away the super payout and gave them the regular.
Yeah, they removed 100% of the silver originally, and now they've added the silver back that was supposed to be from the node. So they can now give their payout that we're supposed to be able to give out without worry, which I think is nice. I never expected them to actually do this, so I think this is kind of going above and beyond in my personal opinion.
I mean, it seemed it would be kind of weird if they didn't do that. It kind of would fuck people over who participated in the node war but didn't get any rewards.
I'd just be happy I didn't get banned in the whole thing. I wouldn't be worrying about no 30 mil payout or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But they didn't do anything wrong. It's not like they, So.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad they did that. It seems like a good update. This is the big one for the week for NAEU. They buffed all the 56 and 57 were bombs. Well, not all, but the majority of 56 and 57 were bombs got buffed. What do you guys think about it?
So I don't know about a lot of the shittier bombs because like even on other classes I've played, there's usually one bomb that's clearly better, and you just take that one and you don't really try the other one. So I don't know enough about these to really say anything. All I know is that the change that they supposedly made for the warrior bomb makes no sense. It was like it increased the animation for using head chase after using the succession dodge, which doesn't make any sense because head chase is an awakening skill and the succession dodge is a succession skill. So I don't know what they even did to the bomb. It's kind of gibberish. Yeah, that's all I got.
I think overall, I don't know about the warrior one, but these seem like they're in the right direction, right? Because we had the succession came out and it was way more powerful than everything else. Then they buffed the awakening, and so and then it basically left our bombs kind of in the dust. They just kind of felt like all kind of weak after this. In my opinion, most of them felt very, very weak and underutilized. And so now with these buffs, I feel like I now have a reason to go back and use these bombs that used to be pretty good. Because I remember using one of my bombs on my Sork that I used to do for DPS and PvE, and it just hit like a wet noodle compared to my other abilities after everything was buffed.
It looked like they only buffed the bombs that weren't used. It didn't look like they went through and buffed bombs across the board. All the ones that didn't get buffed were the ones that nobody ever took.
Yeah.
They buffed the ones that weren't in use, and some of them kind of seems like they've overtaken the one that used to be stronger. So like I saw they did some change, a pretty big change to the Guardian one. Made one of them they took away like HP and DP on one of the Guardians, and then they added super armor to Valkyrie's heal Rabomb. So there was it kind of changed the little things for some classes, but not for every class.
I think it's
So not bad. It's
proper way
pretty
of
good.
doing it too, right? Because like if they need to do a second pass, they can do another pass on the regular abilities. I think doing small incremental changes is way better than like over buffing, and then you have Striker Succession 2.0, you know, and no one wants that. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Just another quick me baby raging about something. Sell junk items, doesn't sell Lakiaro roots. I just want to put that out there. Why do the devs hate Lakiaro so much? That's all I got. Next.
Yo, I actually found out they do sell your Hakaru spikes and stuff like that, so be careful on doing that if you're doing Hakaru
I knew
spikes.
there was going to be some obscure shit that they forgot about that was going to get vendored that shouldn't get vendored.
Yep, I think it's that one and some of the other Sea Monster stuff. So, BDO events, Pearl Shop update. Tim wanted me to bring up the fell stacks from the Pearl Shop. Do you guys know what was up with that? Are you just talking about like the ability to sell them? Yeah. I mean, you can buy 20 stacks now, and
There's like a $50 package where you get like a couple hundred crons and like a 50 stack or something like that. That's what I saw.
Is it the highest stack they've ever sold on the marketplace?
I mean, that's not new. They've been slowly trickling that in. It wouldn't surprise me if there's eventually a bundle with 100 stack and et cetera, et cetera. That's going to continue to slowly creep in.
What do you think about the Arctic Fox $50 pack? I think that's insane. I kind of wish they'd just sell the Arctic Fox by itself. If it was by itself for like $15, I'd probably buy it.
I think they sold it by itself last time, didn't they?
The last time they had it before this was they did Desert Fox, and it was an RNG box between Desert and Arctic.
I could have sworn I bought my Arctic Fox by itself, but I don't know. Maybe I got scammed into a bundle.
I think that's what they did the last winter. Last winter, I think, when it came out. I think that's what they did. The very first time it came out.
I think they should make it so that you can have 5 Arctic Foxes out at once instead of 1.
I agree, actually. I mean, it would be pay to win, but if someone's willing to pay that much money, then why not?
Can we get 5 hedgehogs active at a time?
That would be
I should be able to buy a lifetime value pack and a lifetime comma blessing, et cetera, et cetera. I'm tired of this 30-day, 90-day shit, 15-day shit. Just give me a lifetime subscription already.
Wait, so something that like auto renew?
How much would you pay for a lifetime value pack? Like a one-time big, how much would you pay?
I think I'd pay a 1 year, right? If it costs the same amount that 1 year would normally cost me, but I just got to keep it forever, I think that'd both be a fair price and would be something that'd be worth it for the developers. So I don't know how much a value pack costs you for a year, but
that'd be like 100, 160, $170, right?
Yeah, something like that. I think that'd be a fair price for it, and then that'd just be forever.
I bet you they have that on this too. I bet you that the average player doesn't buy more than a year of this shit. So if they could get someone to buy a year's worth and called it lifetime, they'd probably be making money on more people than they would be losing money on.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd buy it because I mean, the chance I'm going to play BDO for another year is pretty high.
Yeah.
And it doesn't transfer to Crimson Desert.
True.
That's what they'll probably save that idea and like put in their back pocket and release that right before they announce Crimson Desert release date.
Lifetime BDO subs 3 days before Crimson Desert's announced.
I can see it. Other event, the November events. There's a lot in here. All right, so it's apparently pretty simple. Could you guys explain it though? It's apparently just log in and you get stuff.
Okay, so there's a couple things going on. There's the little merchant who you can buy fail stacks from, and the prices are actually reasonable. And then there is login rewards that you you have to do a quest with the Black Spirit where you just run around Velia and like look for footprints. It takes like 5 minutes. Once you do that quest, you get a stone. You then use your challenge reward login stuff to process the stone 60 times.
Wow.
So that's not like you leave it AFK. You actually have to manually process it 60 separate actions because it's a different item each time. So you do that. And then if you do all that and you get the 60th stone, you turn it in for 150 stack. If you're not logged in every day, if you miss a bunch of days, you don't get to do it 60 times. You might do it 40 times or 50 times and you get a worse stack. You get like a 120 or a 130. But if you go all the way and you do the 60 actions, you log in for the next 2 months or whatever, then you get a free 150 stack at the end.
You can just wait till the last day to do all the processing, right?
I believe so, yeah. You just need to be logged in and get the stuff every day.
Wow. Okay. How many am I supposed to have right now? I have 9. Is that the proper
Yeah,
number?
you're supposed to be on 9. 9 is the max right now.
All right. So if you have 9, then we're good. All right. That's all I need to know. How long is the Halloween event going on? Is it going on for another week, right? This is the last week of it?
What Halloween event?
The one in Florin?
Oh, God. I haven't even done that shit.
Yo, there's a daily event where you get to choose a special dice, like for your Black Spirit adventure.
Cannot get myself to roll the dice 5 times, dude. I can't do it. It's how do you guys remember to roll your dice?
Bro,
Set a timer.
God King Nabron, all right? He comes through with the dice notification, all right?
God.
I usually get like 2 dice a day. It's about my average right now. It's about 2 dice I'm getting for free a day.
Well, I have 1 round finished, and it's only because I use special dice.
Yeah, I really feel like right now it's a bad system for like a casual user. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you get average rewards on it. I don't know. It feels like it feels bad failing. I guess that's why it really comes down to it. I just feel bad failing it.
It feels bad not completing. Like, and I guess maybe that's their goal is to force you to check the game 30 times a day. But like,
You have to average 9.6 per dice roll if you want to finish it.
I wish the dice would auto collect, and then I could just go there once a day and roll my dice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's what I'd really like to do with it. I think what would be really cool if they want to make it where it's a law. Every 6 hours of being logged in, you get a free dice. So that just encourage people to stay AFK in the game 24/7. So then you get 4 dice a day, but you just get automatically for every 6 hours you're logged in.
yeah, like in your challenge tab instead of having to go through this laggy ass thing. And
I wouldn't make it in your challenge tab. Just make it where you automatically get them. This goes in and puts in your dice scheme and everything. No challenge tab or anything.
Amazing.
Let's see. So November events sound pretty good with 150 stack. We also have a horse event going on. I guess the idea is for tier 9 horses. I didn't read too much into this. What's the details on this?
Yeah, I don't think you really. I don't think it's really connected.
It's the old one where you train a horse, and then when you turn it into the Imperial Vendor, you get these like extra scrolls that you can turn in for other T8 horses or for the Grand Varet horse gear. And stuff like that. It's that one, and like extra mount EXP, so your horses level faster and things. So it's like an AFK. It's like a boost to AFK overnight horse training. It's something like an extra 15 or so mil per night or something like that. I'd have to read the numbers, but I say every money, a little extra money.
All right, and now finally, the meat and potatoes of today's podcast, the Global Lab. They have done a ton of stuff on Global Lab this week that's interesting. The first one is Thorn Castle. Moro, is it everything that you were expecting?
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Oh, what? So it's apparently to collect seeds, and if you get enough of these seeds, then you can spawn the boss. And apparently it's 5 players versus 5 players, like they were saying before. It's pretty interesting, and you can also take control of the Olun Valley golems that are in there as well. So you can take control of one of those.
What does that mean? So do you have 10 people all in the same area, or do you have 5 people in one area and 5 people in the other area?
You have to face 5 players in the opponent's camp. You must use several tactic points to prevent the enemy from moving forward. Heroic buff increases the effect value when used according to each step. So basically, I guess you're trying to prevent them from moving forward, and then they're trying to do the same thing to your side.
But how? Like, are you PvPing, or is this
The way I understand it is that you both start on different sides. Say there's an island or an arena. You both start on different sides in the arena, and you work through killing mobs and collecting these seeds and things. And as you go through, it's going to mess with their side. And then you have different situations where you can have a player go in and like try to kill them to hinder their progress of trying to spawn this boss and things like that.
Oh, so it's like Gambit in Destiny then. You have like a portal that'll take you to their opponent's side and you can fight them.
I think Night Online did something very similar to that. Not that many of you guys have probably played that game, but if you have, they had like a PvP, PvE kind of thing where it's like 2 sides are racing against each other and then like meet in the middle.
It could
Ion used to have be a bunch of PvE, PvP stuff too. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it could totally work. I think the best instance I've seen of this is Albion Hellgates, where you're basically, there's 5 bosses, and you're kind of going in like a clockwise or a counterclockwise circle, killing these bosses, and you inevitably run into the other team, and then you have to fight to see who gets the final boss in the middle.
Dude, give us Hellgates, please.
Yeah, so if it's anything like that, where you're like doing PvE and then you run into the other group, and then whoever wins gets some big payout, that's perfect. Like, that's the formula, right? So, do we know what the rewards look like?
I don't think they've said anything about the rewards yet. That's been a trend on the Global Lab recently, where they've announced like 2 different Hadoom grind spots, and they haven't told us what the rewards are. They have now the Thorn Castle, and they really haven't told us what the loot is for it. I'm thinking that it's all going to kind of relate to the Black Star armor buffs and stuff, maybe. And maybe that's why they're not talking about it, because they haven't detailed the system yet. But yeah, they haven't mentioned. I didn't see anything in here about loot. But they did mention that you can get in one of the big like Olin golem things, and you can actually like fire off the cannon and like walk it around and do a jump attack and stuff like that. So very similar to Shadow Arena, I would assume.
Oh God, is there going to be some fucking gimmick where you have to take over a giant summon, and that's okay. Well, I mean, we'll see, dude. Maybe it'll be cool.
I don't know.
You're supposed to get moral hype for it, not like tell him stuff that he's gonna hate, bro.
There's always some dumb shit that they add at the end that ruins it. Like, just let us PvP over money and get. I don't know. We'll see. I'll see. I've been waiting for this for so long. Even if it's like half as good as it could be, it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm glad it's finally coming out.
Yeah. Now, one thing that they didn't mention here is they didn't mention how your gear will affect it. So originally, when they said that your gear would matter in PvP, but not PvE, or I think it was like one or the other. So we'll have to see. I don't think they mentioned that in here. So we'll have to see if they make any clarifications on how gear affects things.
Really? Where did you see that?
That was the original announcement they did last December. They said, "Hey, we plan on your gear affecting one but not the other," or something like that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I kind of forget.
I think it'd be cool if they did like a capped and an uncapped version of this, like same with Node Wars, right? Like if there was a bracketed Thornwood Castle and then an unbracketed Thornwood Castle, and the unbracketed one obviously has like way better rewards.
I think what
fantastic.
I think what it was gear mattered in PvP but not PvE, which seemed weird because it should be the reverse of that, where it might matter.
Either one of those, both of those are bad. Like, how are you going to design a mode where people's gear matters in PvE and not PvP, or the other way around? Either like you're going to just lose in the PvE portion because you don't have the same gear, or you're just going to lose in the PvP portion because you don't have the right gear. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem to make sense to me either way.
I guess they could do like preset gear for one. Like, I mean, like the concept of like the Oasis shit that we have, right? The Oasis stuff.
It'd be the same as Dark Rifts, right? For one, because Dark Rifts doesn't matter what your gear is. You can put on literally like gathering gear and go kill Dark Rifts. So I think it's going to be the same thing for this. For I don't know, but for PvE or PvP, one or the other, where your gear doesn't matter like that. Well, to see.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah,
like
I
it's
hope
very
they don't.
polished. Like they have this one champion that's basically for your side, and you're basically feeding these seeds to the champions so they can go fight the end boss or something. I don't know exactly the whole mechanics of it here, but it looks like they've done a lot of polish on there. So hopefully, my main thing is I hope there's enough variety to make it interesting, because the variety in League of Legends is like is basically your champions you pick. The variety in Destiny is the guns that you pick. And then I'm kind of curious what the variety in this game is, because it's not going to be your weapons or your armor. So the variety has to be kind of the mobs, and that's really or the map. Otherwise, it'll be like you've done it once and you've done it a bazillion times, and it'll only be so many times you can win or lose for it before it starts getting boring.
I don't agree with that. I think that the PvP in this game is good enough that it provides its own variety, especially if there's like tactic points that you can push and guard and stuff. That means there's going to be an evolving meta as people develop new strategies and new splits and stuff like that. I don't think the map itself needs to vary a whole bunch. I think the combat in this game stands on its own, as long as what they need to get right here is the reward structure. They need to make sure that people have a reason to queue up for this and that it's actually a proper contest. If the rewards aren't there, then people aren't going to do it. And if the contest is super skewed towards like certain classes or certain like cheese tactics, then I think that'll also cause it to fizzle out. But see.
Especially with BDO, where like the entire game is us like putting in time to long-term progress gear and things like that. I don't think it would be really good for them to like make that not matter. You know what I mean?
No,
I think it
I
should
agree.
matter.
I do think that there should be. Since it's a PVE and PvP blend, I feel like your gear should progress in this. I don't know what that should be. Maybe every time you do this, you have a chance of getting like a accessory, or maybe you get like tokens you can turn in for an accessory of your choice. I don't know, something like that would be interesting.
Yeah, or I mean, I kind of liked, they had a good idea with what's the boss thing out in Aquila Eye, where you get like points you can turn in. They just need to add like, I think it makes sense if they add like cosmetic rewards or other kind of things for like some sort of point based system. I think that would be nice.
Yeah, I don't know. They could give us crow coins. That'd be a really cool system they already have. They could give us hunter seals.
Someone said put Caffers as rewards.
Yeah, Caffers could be a good
Especially on
reward as well.
NA, you know what I mean? Like Caffers are like crack.
But I
basically.
I feel like Caffres is sort of like a double-edged sword, because as soon as everybody has it, then it's like I think the market's going to get destroyed, right? It'll go the reverse.
Yeah, the problem with like Caffres is it's very tied to like current
Yeah,
like there's a silver value tied to Caffres. So if it doesn't give you enough Caffres as you can get from the latest and greatest gathering spot when they release whatever comes after Odalita, then it would suddenly fall into irrelevancy, and that's kind of the problem with that. Whereas if you have things like that aren't just a straight up money conversion, then it kind of adds a little more longevity. Same thing with like the costume for the grind spots or the infinite potions and stuff.
What if the reward was a Thornwood? What if you got like Thornwood coins, okay? And then based on how many Thornwood coins you had, you could buy Thornwood loot boxes. And then the Thornwood loot boxes had all kinds of crazy shit in there, like potion pieces or compass pieces.
Yeah, that would be great. Actually,
It was just RNG.
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be that would make it interesting, because then it's not like
pieces. Yeah.
You're not tied to like you could do that content forever, and it's not just like if it makes less money per hour than gathering, then it's not worth. You know what I mean?
Right,
like that's the situation you don't want to run into. Yeah, that'd
Just
be great.
Step the silver per hour issue and make it like a competitive thing without it being like meta or non-meta.
I got it. What you do is the infinite potions only work in PvE, and for PvP, if you want the same ones in PvP, you have to do the new Thornwood Castle.
Well, no, because then it just makes it mandatory.
Yeah. Also, how would they even? That would be so hard to figure out. You're like your HP would be coded based on like how much.
It'd be fucked up, bro.
You
100%,
did what damage?
bro. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I guess an alternative way of getting the potion pieces other than PvE grinding would be good. Like they did the same thing with the archaeologist or the the rich merchant ring, so I don't see any reason why they can't do that again with Thorn Forest. And so you could either do PvE grinding or you could do Thorn Castle, right? I don't think that's a bad idea, really.
Yeah, there'd be like a super low chance to get merchant ring pieces in there, just like all the special loot. That would be fucking sick.
Yeah, that would make it really interesting. And if it's a really, really low odds, like it would kind of have to be, people are never going to finish it anyway, so there'd always be a reason to do it.
Yeah, or
Right.
a hybrid of two, right? A little bit of RNG for rare items and a steady silver per hour.
Yeah, well, if it was like an RNG loot box that could give you like 10 Caphras or, a 1 in 10 million chance of getting a merchant ring piece, then, you do it and you get the Caphras, but you'd always have that like hope that maybe you could pull something really cool.
Yeah. I like it.
Wasn't there kind of something like that with Dark Rifts, where there was like a box where you could get Caphras, or you could get, not Dark Rifts, Altar of Blood, where you can get either Caphras or you could get like enhanced Lemuria and shit. You guys remember that?
Sounds familiar.
It was kind of an interesting mechanic.
Say that one more time.
You used to get like enhanced green and blue. You could there. I think there was a chance to get enhanced yellow stuff too, but there was like those loot boxes from Altar of Blood, and opening those is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. You could get all the way up until all the way up to pin.
Yeah,
a coom or whatever.
It was the event, right? It was an event.
Was that just the event? Then
I
they
don't
took
know.
it away.
I know. I remember someone got a pin, a coom out of it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" Someone else, I think, got like some boss gear and stuff. That's pretty high leveled. I think that kind of thing could be good, but at the day, if it comes down to silver per hour, like that's just going to be a wrap then, right? It's either going to be
Like,
more
I think
or less.
they still are in the game, but the event increased the drop rate to a reasonable enough amount so that it was reasonable to get those boxes. It's like they're still in the game, but I think the event increased, like it made it so much exponentially higher chance of getting it.
Bro, they could just make it a costume thing too. Make it where it's another costume you can grind for, but you do the Thorn Castle. Make it another costume type thing. That could work.
Yeah, I think that's too narrow though. I think if it had like Lauer Zeka pieces and potion pieces and compass and map pieces, not just all the fucking pieces in there at different rates, and then like a baseline get fucked like 10 Caphras reward, I think that would be pretty dope.
What do you guys think about them adding a new item entirely where you have to grind it exclusively through Thorn Castle? Like, I don't know.
I'm fine with that, depending on what it is. But I like the other idea.
I don't think they can make Thornwood Castle mandatory, because depending on how it works and how many people can go there, like, first of all, how is this going to work? Is it going to have instances? Is it going to be channel based? Like, how many different people are going to be able to do this at a time? Because if it's like you queue up and you wait, like a battleground in WoW or something, you're going to be going up against, a 5-man Cho wizard squad with your 269 AP, and you're going to get omega dunked, and then you're just never going to do it again. So it depends on like how much saturation it has and what the queuing process is.
Sure. I mean, I think that's a really big problem they're going to run into more and more, right? As they come out with more activities and they don't get rid of old ones, you're splitting your player base even more, so that means there's less player base to do all those activities. That's why when you go to Thorn Forest, you never see anybody hardly, because there's so many people spread out across the big world of BDO and all the servers that you just don't run into people as often as you used to.
I think the solution to that is just having event. Like where there's a certain event. Like that's kind of what WoW does, right? Well, they have like the random queue, which gives you better rewards if you queue up randomly for stuff. And then they have like certain periods of time where like one battleground is, the one that gives better rewards. So everyone does that, and you just change it up all the time.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like this week it's Red Battlefield, next week it's Thorn Castle, next week it's 1v1 Arena. I don't know, whatever.
I don't think we're going to get that, but that would be best. It's the same thing with like the Slayer skill in RuneScape. It's such a good design because it like incentivizes you to go do lots of different grind spots as opposed to whichever one is just like the most money.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we had something like that, like a Slayer style skill in BDO. That would be really cool.
The next topic is Hadum Focus.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Did we talk about the change to make the Afuaru drop all the rare items last week? Did you guys talk about that? Because that's like very similar to what we were talking about with Thornwood, and now every time one of those things spawn, I get so excited.
Yeah,
that was a great change.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best changes. I had the coolest thing happen to me. I was at Thornwood Forest. I had a Rift spawn, I had an Afumaru spawn, and I had a Spook spawn all at the same time. I was like, what do I do? Oh, there's so much stuff to do. It was a really, really fun activity. That's the type of thing I'm looking at grind spots in the future. As I'm looking for like, I've been there for like 50 hours grinding, and after my 50th hour, I finally had all 3 of them happen at the same time. And that's why I really like. That's what made my 50th hour different than my first hour, and that's cool. I like that a lot. But I do agree. I like the Afumaru. I hear Afumaru is like really overpowered at some of the grind spots, like Ash Forest and stuff. He's like very overpowered at some of them.
That's kind of funny.
I haven't had I haven't even paid attention to any of his drops, but I'm just like, oh, I could get a merchant rig piece here. It's like it gets me so excited every time he spawns. And every time all I've ever get is like Ancient Spirit Dust, but I still get the feeling every time. So it was a good change.
One of the things I really like is that he feels like he's part of the lore in the game now, right? Because his loot reflects what grind spot you're at. So if you're at Ash Forest, he's going to drop things that drop from Ash Forest. You could get a Deborah necklace from him. If you go to Thorn Forest,
you can get a Deborah from. I thought he only dropped like the rare pieces, the potion pieces and merchant ring and compass.
His loot reflects the loot of the grind spot you're at. So I think anything at the grind spot you're at is what you can get. That's my understanding of it.
I thought it was zone specific and only for rare items, but
because at Thorn Forest I get the black leaf, and at the Toro grind spot I get the red leaf. I think is what it is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
so I didn't know the loot specific. I thought it was like over the whole region and they were all the same.
Yeah, and I haven't had enough of them to really say. I mean, maybe I just got my anecdotal evidence is very small pool, right? But so far, I have never gotten a red leaf or anything outside of in Thorn Forest, and I've killed them, I don't know, 20 times now or more. So it seems to be just a straight buff to the loot at your grind spot, which I think is interesting because that means whatever the node, the item where it says when you pull up the drop rates, it's by node. I think that his loot is now based on the node that you're currently under.
So wait, you think that's if you're at the wolves, the feather wolves that you kill at Navern, you think they can drop potion piece? He can drop a potion piece?
Since probably not, because that's the gathering loot table, right?
Yeah, true. That is gathering loot table.
Yeah,
never mind.
I don't know.
But I think he can drop the other pieces if you kill him at like Blood Wolves.
Yeah. I just think it's really cool now that his loot is divvied up like that, because if you go to it's just really neat, because if you go to Pilaku, he's going to give you stuff from Pilaku or the desert, right? At the very least, I haven't tested the desert at all, but I assume it's the same in the desert now. Because doesn't he spawn also in Histria?
Yeah, I think someone got an Elton piece from him. Yeah, unless it was a fake screenshot. I'm pretty sure that happened.
I heard that someone got a compass piece. I don't know if it was Elton, but
that I would need to see like a screenshot, a video clip. I mean, I'd be streaming it live on Twitch when they have. That's definitely.
I assume he's still dropping like unidentified pieces, so you'd like get the drop, but you'd have to go check and see which one it was. But I could be wrong.
Anyway, I think that's really cool. I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't think we talked about that enough at length last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very similar to the idea of like a Thornwood box. Like if they had an RNG box that basically did the same thing as that would work, because I get really excited when I see them.
Yeah. So the next thing on the global lab is Hadoom Fogans. So Hadoom is a new server that we're releasing. Basically, Hadoom is the god of death, and he basically has created an alternate universe. And when you go there, monsters are going to be super powered up. And eventually, every single grind spot will have a super powered version of it in the Hadoom server. So the last 2 weeks, they've done bandits in Serindia, and they've also done the red orcs in Serindia. And this week, they have updated Fogans in Serindia. Each one of these has a unique mechanic. So for Fogans, they've made it where the Fogan prince that has like the big toad he rides on with the big chair on the top of the toad, it now spawns. And there's some other unique mechanics as well that go along with it about how the Fogans get violent and attack you and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be one of those things I have to play it to figure out if I like it or not. And I think it's also going to come down to the loot a lot. I don't know what the loot's gonna be like because they haven't said anything about that.
The most interesting part for me, or what I'm curious about, is they said that the Hadoom spots are going to drop materials that allow you to further add stats to your Black Star equipment.
Mhm.
So I've been curious to see like when they're going to
Yeah,
release it.
I've been waiting on that too because they have a really good opportunity there. So kind of anticipating whatever they actually do there. I feel like it's not going to be as cool as it could be, but they've got a really big opportunity to make that like an awesome way to go around and grind different spots and be incentivized for it.
One thing,
Yeah, like you guys talked about the other time on the was it last week where you're talking about how like they could make some kind of a journal where we're killing X amount of different mobs at each of the Hadoom spots gain extra stats. I like that a lot.
Yeah, one thing that they had before is that you would kill mobs, and as you killed mobs, you would be able to unlock like AP or DP or like extra silver from the marketplace, like the merchant ring. But it'd be like by killing mobs, and they had a third one. I forgot what the fourth category was. I mean, but anyway, they had that, and people were thinking, me and Morlin and everybody was thinking that we could actually have the same system, but it'd be Hadoom. So you just kill Hadoom mobs, and it would unlock the same thing, which would be really cool. I'm a little concerned that it won't affect Dandelion or Fiery Kudum, right? That it might and that would be another concern that the Black Star Awakening weapon or the Fallen God versions would just be significantly better always. Which I don't think is something that I would look forward to. So I'm hoping that if they do have some of a system like this where you can get extra stats, that it applies both to Dandelion and Fiery Kudum and Fiery Nuver.
I kind of think they're gonna leave Dandelion and Kudum in the dust and
Wait.
replace all of the Black Star stuff.
All right. Yes and no. All right. I was going to bring this up later, but this is a good segue. So basically, there was a lot of questions. This is what they said in the actual global lab. There were a lot of questions about the top, not this one, any Black Star Awakening weapon. Since the release of Black Star Awakening weapon through the global lab last week, we have received many opinions from adventurers from all over the country. Thanks again to the adventurers who provided feedback. First of all, the Black Star Awakening weapon was added for the purpose of giving adventurers a new choice, not as a higher concept of existing boss gear equipment. So they're not trying to replace this, what they're trying to say here.
A likely story.
They're not trying to replace it, and they actually nerfed it. And they actually nerfed Black Star intentionally for this. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, now you can either choose to have the best weapon or you can choose to have the second best weapon. They're giving you a choice.
Well, they nerfed Black Star. So Black Star is now the same as Dandelion across the board. The what's it called? The all species damage was reduced on it. And they also made it where you can add the Garmoth Heart to it as well to give it crystal slots.
Wait, get rid of the monster damage?
The monster damage is 10, 15, and 25 now.
So how is it the same as Dandelion if they got rid of it, if it still has the monster damage? It's not the same at all. It's way better.
It's more in a similar position to Black Star, right?
Which is clearly better. Yeah.
It's I guess the reason people would get mad about it is because of PvP, the PvP aspect of it, and because it was just so much clearly a better choice before.
You can Garmoth it now, right?
Yeah, you can Garmoth it now, which basically makes up for
it.
So it's exactly the same as a Zarka to regular Black Star.
Literally better. If you can Garmoth it and it still has the monster damage, it's literally just objectively better. There's no reason to use Dandy.
I mean, let me check here the stats.
I mean, it's the same reason to use Dandy as you would to use a regular Pen Zarka, which is basically like you can throw some Caphras in it before you can get a Pen Black Star.
True, yeah, you can get like some incremental brackets if you're in that range where it would matter.
Yeah, so basically the stats on it right now is at TED it's 122 and 133. So 122 and 133. So and a Dandelion at Pin right now is 122 and 131. So the base damage is the same, but the highest damage on it is 2 higher. So the average damage will be 1 more on it. The all species damage on the Black Star is 8 at TET, but on Dandelion it's 12. And so
It's exactly the same as
Yeah, it's
main hand option. It's just it's like literally the same thing as Azarka
Yeah.
to Blackstar, except for Awakening, which is fine. Like that's cool.
Yeah, and I
But,
this is
but
much
let's
better
not
than it was
pretend
before.
like it's not better. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's I think it's good, but it definitely means that the Dandy or the Blackstar Awakening weapon is the best item.
Yeah.
In the same way that a Pen Blackstar is better than a Pen Zarka. It's a purely PvE difference. They're basically the same in PvP, but yeah.
Which is why I
It's still
think it
better.
should have been. Before, it wasn't like that. Before, this one was the best in all cases. And I feel like now this makes it a little bit more even footing.
Before it was definitely better in PvE and worse in PvP. Now it's just going to be the best, period. But there will be a
Yeah,
cost efficiency.
What's
that
the
goes into
nerf that happened to it? Potion, you said it got nerfed.
They took away like 3 AP, was it? They took 3 AP away from it.
I had to pull up the stats.
At Pen?
At Tet.
Or was it Pen or Tet?
I think both.
They probably. You sure they just didn't take away the AP, the extra bonus AP at Tet that it has? Because like Blackstar has more AP than a Tet Blackstar has more AP than a Pen Zarka by 1. That was a change they made to buff Blackstar Awakenings a little while ago. Was there something similar for the Awakening or Blackstar main hands? Was there something similar for the Awakening?
Just a second, I'm looking.
It sounds like they just reduced the species damage a little bit to make up for the fact that you can Garmoth it, which is a trait that clearly.
They reduced the AP by 2 across the board. So at Tri it was reduced by 2. At Tet Blackstar it was reduced by 2, and at Pin it was left the same.
Can you tell me again what its AP was at Tet?
At Tet before it was 224 and 235. Now it is.
No way it has 234 AP on its Tet. What are you talking about?
Yeah, at Tet Blackstar before it was 224 and 235. Yeah, sorry. What am I saying? 2? I'm fucking dyslexic as fuck.
Okay, so it was 124 before, and
yeah, 124.
33.
124 and 135. Did I say it right? Did I do it right? Oh, gosh, my fucking head. I'm so stupid.
That's like the same as the weapon, where it's like 2 AP higher.
That's what it was. They reduced it by 2.
Yeah, it's like you get a free Caphras level.
So now it's
one. They're not giving you basically the free Caphras level. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's now it's 122 and 133.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what it is now.
So it's 1 AP higher on average than a Pen Dandy.
Correct.
But I'm guessing they have the same AP as a Pen. The Pen Blackstar probably has the same AP as a Pen C20 Dandy. Is that accurate?
Yeah, but again, the only reason they're doing that is to make it so that just getting a Dandy with 1 Caphras level isn't automatically better, right? Like they're just giving it the free Caphras level to make
they're
it.
They're doing the exact same thing they did with the main hands.
Yeah, it is the exact same thing. It's clearly a better item.
Well, here let me talk about what they did here. The monster damage also changed. Monster damage was 11 at Tri, now it's 10. It was 17 at Tet, now it's 15. And at Pin it was 33, and now it's 25. So this is a significant nerf.
Well, they nerfed how much they nerfed its PvE bonus, but all of the PvE is pure straight bonus off of the.
Yeah, that's not that significant. That's still drastically better than Dandelion. Like as long as there's eventually going to be a awakening weapon of the dead god, right? And as long as I can use my Pin Dandy to craft the dead god shit, then I guess I'm okay with this. But I'm gonna be sad if it ends up just being like Blackstar, where like people with a Pin main hand just got kind of fucked because Blackstar came along and was better, and they couldn't transfer one to the other.
Well, that's what this is going to be. Now, they did make a note here on Fallen God, which I think is important because this does factor into the long-term plan. If you're going to play a super long game or short-term game, they said there was a lot of questions about the Fallen God armor. But first of all, there are no plans to add related equipment this year. Since the Fallen God itself is an equipment placed at the very top of all gear, it will be updated for the next year with sufficient consideration and preparation. So they say basically for the rest of this year, they don't plan on doing anything else with another Fallen God piece. And maybe next year, after some time has passed and people can get their their gear and everything situated, they might do another Fallen God piece next year. But
They already told the Koreans they were giving us Fallen God helmet in 2021, didn't they?
Yeah,
At least that's what
so,
that dude
yeah,
from
that's
Heathen's
what-
interview said.
That's what they're saying here, is that they're giving it to us, but they don't want to. They're not going to make it where they're coming out like candy. They're going to make it where they're going to make sure the player base is prepared enough to do it.
I mean, here's what I expect, and I don't know, you guys can tell me if you disagree, but I would expect us to get the Black Star or the Fallen God helmet sometime next year, probably either the boot or the gloves sometime at the end of next year, the whatever other piece at the beginning of 2022, and then they'll start adding the weapons after that. That would be so we should probably expect Fallen God weapons in like end of 2022. That would be my guess.
I think there's no chance that whatever 2-year plan they have for this game, they stick to it. I think that in the next 2 years, that changes drastically.
Well, I think one thing that they don't consider is that they have no idea how to balance the economy whatsoever, and their inflation's out of control. And that's going to make it where we can progress a lot faster than they anticipate we can. So
I disagree with that. I think they've had the economy pretty well balanced over the last year. We've had a pretty reasonable amount of inflation for a year. The switch to the central market changed things dramatically in the year before, but I'd say the last year has been pretty even keel, pretty expected.
Yeah, I think it's fair. That's a fair take. I guess I would agree with you, Bio. I think your 1 year outlook is really good. I think the 2 year outlook, I think they're going to release everything in the second year because people are going to progress twice as fast, or close to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like annoyed there's not more Fallen God gear coming out, to be honest. I thought it was going to save me from this shitty DR build.
Well, I mean, you didn't think there was any Fallen God coming out this year? That's like a month and a half away.
Not this year, no, but I thought it was coming soon. Maybe it's coming at the beginning of 2021.
I mean, maybe my expectation is a little pessimistic. Maybe we'll get 3 new pieces of Fallen God next year. Well, I mean, they did say that we were getting a helmet 2021. Who knows?
Well, we got Black Star armor, and then we got Fallen God like a couple months after that. So I figured that would be the pattern. They'd release a new Black Star piece. A couple months later, they'd release the Fallen God upgrade.
Didn't KR get Fallen God armor and Black Star armor at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. That's probably because they got Odalita way before us.
Well, they had a bad response to that because people were like, "Why do you do this?"
Well, I mean, the Black Star armor makes sense. It's just the player base is Pepega. Like the Black Star armor is for whales to cron to get a Fallen God without having to try and get Caphras. That's why it exists. People just think that the Black Star gear is a relevant piece of gear as opposed to just like a way to skip Caphras to get Fallen God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes pretty logical sense, but it's so much more expensive. I think it's the main thing. If Caphras went up in price, right? Say Caphras went up to 4 or 5 mil, then it actually makes a lot more sense for it to exist. But the current price of Caphras being capped at 3 mil is what makes Black Star armor not relevant. So
that's assuming you can actually get Caphras.
Intentionally withhold Caphras and then add a shitty item like Black Star armor in order to bait whales into buying more costumes to cron. You think that they did that all on purpose?
I don't even think that's.
I think
that's pretty obvious. If you look at the math behind it, it's not even that crowning Black Star armor is that bad. Like it's definitely worse than it, but I think 100%. Like all the gear they've added to the game since distortions for the most part has been cron bait. And this is, absolutely. Like, why doesn't that make sense to you? Can you not imagine a whale coming in like, I want a Fallen God armor? There's 200,000 orders on Caphras. So I can
imagine the whale doing that. I just can't imagine Pearl Abyss having a plan that's like that meticulous and like. So you think that all these new gear, all these new items that are coming out are purely just marketing team shit?
I don't think it's one-dimensional.
I don't think they're purely marketing team, but I think they're very carefully balanced to sell Cronstones. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything that's come out, excluding like Manos accessories and shit, are like 100% Cron is way better, way more efficiency.
Yep, everything. I don't think there's been.
I guess like Dawns and stuff have fallen down to the price where maybe they're not anymore, but they were at launch anyway. But yeah, pretty much like Turbo Belt, distortions. You cannot make a Pen Black Star without cronning. You cannot make any Fallen God without cronning. Like all this stuff is super, super focused around selling Cron.
Everything since Stars In really has been like that. I don't think there's been anything since Stars In.
Just because they're bad game designers. I don't think that's because they actually like understand player behavior that well.
Well, one thing that they've done, there's been several things that happened that make this makes a lot of sense, right? They acquired CCP, which is the developers for EVE Online, if I said that right. And they talked about in a developer blog that they wanted to learn how to monetize the game for a Western audience, which is basically the way that EVE does it is you utilize this existing monetization so you don't piss off everybody in the player base. And their plan before they took over CCP was every time they released a new area, they would do new monetization. And instead of doing that, now they're just monetizing Cronstones out the ass because it's not making people as mad.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's been pretty good because no one's gotten mad over Cronstones in recent history.
Yeah, it's way more subtle.
Yeah. It's way
It's
more
way
subtle.
more subtle form of pay to win. For sure.
To say that nobody's gotten mad at Cronstones, that's because the
I mean, I can't be a
90%
hypocrite because I buy them.
Most people are mad because they can't buy them off the marketplace. They're not mad that they're in the game. They're mad they can't buy them off the marketplace.
we don't get the players who even have the potential to be mad about Cronstones because the game's reputation is so bad that they don't even start playing to begin with. So yeah,
Sure.
people aren't throwing a fit, but that's because we've already excluded 90% of the MMO population from even trying the game because of these shitty predatory systems.
Oh, I agree.
I'm not saying that people aren't getting mad about Cronstones. Like, people definitely are mad about Cronstones. That's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm saying when they add a pen Fallen God armor, people aren't making the calculations. Like, it's not obvious to people who don't play the game at a very high level that, like, this item is going to sell a fuck ton of Cronstones. Like, they don't realize that it's making the game, like, making more costume sales because it's super non-obvious unless you're unless you're a high level at the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when they add a tet distortion and I sit there and do the math and say, oh man, this thing is fucking terrible. You're going to have to spend a shit ton of crons to get this thing up. Like, the average player doesn't know that. Even expert players don't know that. It's not until you actually sit down and do the math that you realize it. But if you remember back in the day when Cronstones first came out, they were like the Pepega option. Like, nobody clicked that shit. Even when costumes came out, they weren't exactly great. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, that's my point.
then
That's
they
why
started adding all this new gear that's like Cronstones are basically 100% required. Like, you cannot, like, progressing in this game without Cronstones at a super high level. I'm not saying you need to spend money on them, at least on an A, because you can get them off the market. But like, all of the top tier gear is way better to make with Cronstones than without Cronstones.
Yeah,
By,
that was
I literally don't think the devs know that, dude. I think that
I think they
Oh,
do.
they
Man.
100%
If you look
do.
at the
They
math,
100%
it's
do.
100. It's very, very careful.
There's
Like,
no way
that's
they
why-
don't know. Dude.
that's why I
like,
was mad.
somebody had to sit. Here's the thing, Marlon, because somebody had to sit down and set the price on like how many Cronstones it was going to cost to pick a pen distortion.
No, they're
or
all
any
based on
distortion.
they're all based on old market caps. They didn't
I
intentionally.
know, but somebody had to, like, they chose those market caps for a reason.
And the new
Yeah,
items are
I
not based on the old
guarantee you they
marketplace.
know.
They chose them for a reason that made sense in like 2017. They set them at the Tungrad belt price. No
Yeah,
one
exactly. They knew that by having like the drop rate or having the actual price be much, much higher than that base price, it was actually going to be super worth to Chrono. I
So
think
you think that when they set distortion and all these items to the Tungrad belt price, they had already planned on releasing Central Market in the future and uncapping the items to go up to 300 mil so that people would cron
distortions
them.
came out after the central market, didn't they?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
definitely.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like they didn't think this through. They literally copy and pasted the price of Tungrad belt. They didn't.
I
like,
don't
have a
know,
full
man.
plan.
I'm not buying
so
that.
You think they have this level of understanding of player behavior and player progression, but only when it comes to monetization and every other
Yeah,
part
because
of
they
the
give a shit about monetization. They probably have a shit ton of people who are working.
No way.
exclusively on
Why isn't
monetization.
the rest of the game even remotely smartly designed if we have
Because
people
they
this
don't- They
intelligent?
care a lot more
I
about
mean,
their monetization.
you did say it
Accident.
earlier though, Moreland. You were like, "Well, wouldn't it be like, why would they cater to their existing player base when they could just bring people in new, suck them dry?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they don't do that with chroning pin distortions. They do that with like fucking chroning your pin to Vala.
Yeah, but I think they put way. They probably have a team. I'm like, not probably. They certainly have a team whose full goal is just monetization and figuring out how to set this stuff, because that's the stuff they actually give a shit about. They don't care if hunting is good in
Oh.
Commissal. That doesn't make them any money. But if they fuck up the monetization, that's a big fucking deal. And I guarantee you, they have people who
100%.
I
they've
think
hired.
they are fucking up the
explicitly.
monetization. I think there's so many smarter ways they could be extracting money out of this player base, dude. The way they do it is so fucking Pepega.
Well,
if
no,
they
no.
were actually good at this,
I'll agree with you on that, Marlon. But to say that they don't care about monetization, it's just they have a very like 2000. They have
never
a
said
2000 perspective on how to monetize a game. You release the game, it's either pay to win or you have a box fee. They're the same people who work at like Activision who think that the best thing to do is put in like RNG boxes in because it's the best. It's not a good way of monetizing your game. It's just not because you sacrifice player retention in order to have more profit.
I disagree. I think they've actually massively changed how they've monetized this game in the last like 2 years, and I think they've done it very intentionally, and I think they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, I think
they've made the game way more free to play friendly, so you have a lot more people coming in playing the game, and they're not doing all like the pet bullshit and all of the like weight limit bullshit and inventory bullshit they did because they realized that was creating a terrible new experience and turning people off. And they're monetizing heavily on costumes by releasing gear that basically has to sell. Like you have to buy costumes.
Have you played a season character? The inventory and weight stuff is still pretty cancerous. I think if they were actually smart about this, this would be executed 10 times better than it's. I feel like the shit they have now is literally luck. They accidentally set these prices in a way that made them money, and I'm sure someone at the office is taking credit.
Definitely not. No,
they literally copy and pasted the fucking price of Tongue Rat Bell and accidentally made $1 billion.
No, I don't think that's possible whatsoever. And especially if you look at like, there is no reason for them to release a Black Star Awakening weapon other than monetization. That's literally the only reason to ever release one.
No, I would disagree that there's a reason. Like a Black Star Awakening weapon is definitely
because not after doing Garmoth art. After doing Garmoth art, there's no reason.
Yeah,
other than monetization.
Like there's a reason like people like to play the game. But but you're right in the sense that like they definitely are like, we'll sell a lot of costumes for this.
But does it
I'm sure that plays into it. But like, I mean, people like me, I'm super happy about that item coming out. I'm sure a lot of people are really happy about that item coming out. So it's two birds with one stone. It's new content, it's interesting content, and it's cost content that you need to sell costumes.
I just can't accept the notion that the monetization team in this game is 200 IQ and literally every other team is 80 IQ. I just can't accept that disparity. Like that doesn't click for me.
I'm surprised you're that skeptical because like that's how you would expect
the idea that they care more about monetization than anything. I mean, it is a big,
is it really a shocker that like really that good at monetization?
They would fix the actual game, and we would have millions of players instead of.
That's the thing, though. Why fix it if you don't have to? Like, you're not going to go anywhere. There's no competition. If there's nothing else for people to compete with, why would you improve it?
What do you mean? They're getting clobbered by other MMOs, dude. Other games have way more players than BDO just because they are better at extracting money from whales. If they were actually good at monetization and game design, this could be the number one MMO. This game could be shitting on WoW every day.
I agree with that. Yeah. I think that they don't realize that's an option, Moreland. That's the thing, right? They don't have a good enough faith that they can put that much effort into the game because they see that costs them 3 times the amount of money, and they have a chance of having 5 times the amount of players. Or you can like triple down on the monetization on your current player base and make double the money with the same player base. So a chance at making 5 times the money, or a guarantee of making double the money. I mean, as a company, you're going to take the safe bet. I feel like that's what they're going to do.
Everything that this company has ever said in a blue paragraph in the patch notes indicates that they have no idea how people play the game, why people play the game, or like anything that has to do with what makes this game fun or what brings people into it. They say the most random Papega shit, dude, like the stuff that works in the cash shop. Have you seen, like, I don't know, man, half the stuff is still like furniture sales, like costume task force. There's just like so much shit that constantly demonstrates they do not have a high level of mastery over their player base. And now it's like they're a bunch of fucking evil geniuses.
Well, I think
here's the thing, it doesn't take that much of a genius to be like, how much is this item going to cost to make without Cronstones? How much is this item going to cost to make with Cronstones? Let's make sure it's much better to make with Cronstones. Like that's not like it doesn't take a fucking genius to know that like you can't click Pen Black Stars raw. They need Cronstones to be even remotely viable.
I genuinely believe that the devs for this game on their play accounts at home raw click pin black stars. I would bet $1,000.
Okay, but
that
the devs and the like monetization team are different people. Like the
I
monetization
mean,
team
not
isn't gonna
really.
fuck
The devs
around.
are the ones who set the prices. The
No.
monetization-
The devs don't set the prices. Are you fucking kidding
No.
me? They
For
have a
items
very
in the
specific team of people whose entire
For
careers
items
and
in the
jobs
game.
are nothing but monetizing
Yeah.
player base. And
Yeah,
they
for
come
the
in and
Pro Shop.
they min-max the fuck out of everything on the cash shop. I guarantee fucking to you. I know that like
Yeah,
lots of
on
games
the
do
cash
this.
shop. I'm not talking about the cash shop. I'm talking about the in-game prices.
Yeah, but
No.
no. But I thought we were talking about the like setting the prices for things like upgrading weapons and stuff in order to monetize.
Setting the cron price for a black star is something that a game designer is doing. That's not
No,
something that a marketing
definitely not.
person is doing.
No.
No.
100% not. 100% not. It's definitely the marketing people.
Yo, that's a
No
marketing
chance.
team. Yeah,
No chance. The
No,
marketing
I-
team doesn't even play the game, dude. They're just out there fucking reading quarterly reports and asking for a costume task force. They don't know what a cron
Okay,
is.
not the marketing team per se, but the monetization team. The monetization team is definitely paying attention to
So you
costume sales.
think that there's a suit?
Like,
who
are you kidding? They're
forces
selling billions of
the
dollars worth of
itemization
costume sales. You don't
team?
think anyone like looked at that and was like, how does this work? Like, come on.
I mean, I'm sure they get pressure, but I don't think that there's like a non-game designer who's setting in-game prices
right.
for
They-
in-game
they're-
items.
I'm sure they're working as a team.
This has
but
been
yeah,
notorious
I
on
think they
other
are.
like Activision, where Activision will change things about the core game philosophy in order to monetize it better. To think that BDO would not try to do the exact same thing is asinine. Honestly, it's asinine to think that they would not try to monetize the game just like any other game developer does,
Yeah, of
and trying to
course they would
change core
try.
gameplay loops
I'm not-
in order
I'm
to
not saying
monetize
they
it.
didn't try, dude. I'm saying they don't have the competency to pull it off.
They've
on,
made
But here's the
billion. They've
thing.
made $1
Here's the
billion
thing.
dollars. Of course, they've done
Here's the
it.
thing,
on
though.
accidents because
Here's
there's
the
no
thing.
other game.
You say they don't have the confidence, but they did it very correctly. Like they know, like the math adds up to say like, okay, they very intentionally did this, and you're saying no, they did it on accident. And it's like, okay, well, you're saying that they like spent all this time working on it, but they also did it the right way or the most
But, yeah, and
way
think
to
about
monetize it
it.
on accident.
Right? They did
Like,
it. They
I don't know.
accidentally.
You really gonna buy that?
They did it on
Yes,
accident
they've
for.
never
accident.
demonstrated
They did
that they
it so
understand
well.
what the fuck is going on here.
They
Of course
accidentally did
it's
it
an
for
They don't
distortion.
understand, like they don't have to understand like that complicated stuff. They just have
First
to sit
of
down
all-
and be like, is it going to be worth the cron this item or not?
Okay, first of all, every successful MMO is an accident, which is why no MMOs are able to make more than one good expansion before they
That's
immediately
probably true.
plummet into garbage. So, first of all, every MMO is an accident. And second of all, yes, everything that this company has ever said in regards to what makes the game better or what grows the player base or how people should spend their money is fucking retarded. And they don't know what they're doing. And their success
I
is
agree
random.
with you.
I
I
think
agree with you on that, but I don't think
right. Like you can not know what your player base likes and what people like about your game, but you can also know how to meticulously.
Dude, I will bet.
I
I
think
will
that's
bet my life savings that Jaehee Kim raw taps pin black stars. I will bet everything in my fucking bank, all $41 in my bank account right now, that Jaehee Kim raw taps pin black stars.
yeah, because he's
no
not part of the
chance that
monetization
he
team.
knows.
He doesn't do
No
that.
chance.
There's no way
that
he
the
designs
content
that. There's no way he did the math on that or designs that at all. There's no way.
Exactly.
They have a specific team that comes in
He
just
probably
to
doesn't even know what a black star is, if we're being honest. Like I'm not even. The CEO probably doesn't even know what a black star is, bro.
I think it's very intentional, though, right? They have. If you look at distortions, if it was only one case, I think you could argue that very strongly, Moreland. But they did it with distortions. They've done it with Black Star armor. They've done it with Black Star weapons. They've done it with so many different items now. All the new accessories. Like, yeah. If it was an accident, they would have done it one time, and then we never would have saw it again. But we've seen it over and over and over again that they've gotten the math perfect for making money with Cronstones
It's
as a
far
company.
from perfect, bro. Put me in charge of this
can
shit.
agree
I'll
that they
make a 10 bill.
Accidentally the first time. I can agree that they did it like on accident the first time.
Yeah.
But like
That might have been what happened too. They might have done Black Star main hand and been like, "Holy shit, how did this happen?" And then they looked into it and figured out how to copy paste that on everything
Yeah, okay,
else.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that
They
they
could've done
copy and pasted. I'll buy that they copy and pasted tongue grind bells,
It's-
and then
it's not-
noticed that the silver inflation was causing people to use cron since cron prices were locked, and then said, "Okay, let's keep doing that." I'll buy that, but there's no way that they initially did it on purpose.
Who knows? Both of us would be guessing on that. But anyway, it's obvious that today the items that we're releasing are because of the way they want to monetize the game. And I don't think it's the worst thing. I don't think it's the best thing. There's definitely better ways of doing it.
And here's the thing. It's not that they're choosing which items to release based on how to monetizing it. It's they're choosing just the cron costs to monetize by selling crons.
Yeah.
Like if the cron costs were ridiculous, then it wouldn't be the case. But like I'm just saying, like the cron cost specifically is engineered in such a way that it makes sense. And like the Caphras problem is probably going to stay like it is because originally, if we go back to what we started talking about this because we said that Black Star armor was put into the game as an alternative where you can use cron stones instead of Caphras to get your fallen god. And I think that was done intentionally. Like they add the Black Star option so that people can, especially people who are whales, will cron out their pen Black Star armors to get fallen god pieces instead of wait for
Did you
Caphras.
know that the original Caphras stone was a cron stone? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
They originally wanted you to just feed fucking cron stones into your gear past pin. And even the Korean player base was like, hey, dude, that's kind of pay to win. And so they decided that they were going to do Caphras stones instead.
The Korean players don't like pay to win, by the way, for anyone who's wondering that. They don't actually like the pay to win.
They kind of like it.
No, they don't. They
like it a little bit.
I lived there for a year and a half. They don't like it. It's just sort of like it's in everything, so they don't really have a choice.
I have Korean friends too. They kind of like it. Let's be honest. NA kind of likes it too.
No, I don't.
There's definitely some people who like it.
This is that saying, like the customer's always right, where it's like it's not about what they say, it's about their behavior. If they spend a shit ton of money on it, then they like it. You know what I mean? Even if they say they don't like it, like as a business, they like it.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty fair.
Like pay to win games are pay to win games because pay to win game works.
It's true. I hated myself every time I bought Artisan's Memory back in 2017.
I still bought them.
I still bought them. I still bought them. Every time I did it, I thought, God damn it.
Bro, they had a sell. This is the last time I bought Artist Memories. They had a sell on Artisans. I think it was like 700 Artist Memories. And I went through all of them in a course of like a week. And I didn't get one thing back to Tet. I think I maybe got one out of like 4 pieces of gear back to Tet. And I was like, all right, I'm never buying these ever again. And that was the last time I bought them. They had them on sale too, so I was like, oh, that's a good deal here. Buy these, get some loot scrolls and some Artist Memories, all right. But yeah.
How much money do you think they make off these loot boxes? Do you think it's a significant chunk, or do you think it's like a couple percent? What percentage of their income do you think is based on these not available in Belgian boxes now?
I think if you look at the costume ones, I think they make probably 20% more, like easily. 50% more, easily.
Ones?
So they had the Halloween costume, and if you want the Halloween costume, you can't get it for the set price. You have to buy 7 of the boxes in order to get a guaranteed one, and 7 of the boxes would be double the price. So I think that some people probably buy like 5, and then they're like, well, I'm so close, I'll buy 2 more, and then they basically spent double the money. And so I would imagine overall there's people who don't buy costumes because of that, but they probably make about 50% more from people who do still.
God, I would fucking just love to see the actual behind the scenes revenue for this game.
I mean, I would bet they're making more money on it, because if they weren't, they wouldn't keep releasing more and more RNG boxes over and over and over again. Because we always have one in the cash shop.
Though. They would, because again, you guys are assuming that there's a level of expertise here that's not present. The reason why they're releasing loot boxes is because they saw Clash Royale release loot boxes and make a bunch of money, so now they're releasing loot boxes. They're not that fucking good at their jobs. They just luck into shit, and they try shit from other games. Some of it works and some of it doesn't, and they just keep whatever works, and they make $1 billion. Like, it's actually not that hard, which is why people who are not that good at their jobs are still able to make a shit ton of money doing it.
Well,
I just think that's a little naive.
I think, I mean,
like, I'm sure they have a team of data scientists whose entire job
I think there's an element of truth in that, right? But
And that's probably how it started. But like, you
Yeah.
don't have $1 billion
Yeah,
company and
exactly. They
bother
have
to like.
data scientists who are level 15 in Black Desert Online who look and see how much money Clash of Clans is making and how they can copy their business model from other mobile games and put it into this one. They even copy their own product. They copy shit from BDO Mobile and put it on the PC version. Like, none of this is new. They didn't come up
Yeah.
with any of it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're being like creative with it.
I just think that it's not asinine to assume that the developers can be clueless, but the people that are in charge of monetization aren't clueless in terms of like how to extract that revenue. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I think it's perfectly fine that the developers are clueless, but they definitely got to be people that know how to like.
I mean, if they were
out some cash,
if they were clueless, they'd just get fired and they'd hire someone else who wasn't clueless because they care about money more than anything else on the earth.
I just don't think that there is a data scientist out there who's also like a fucking Siege level player and understands the mechanics behind Bronstones. And if we are talking about setting the prices for items in the game, then yeah, you need a certain level of understanding. A random
really don't, though.
Statistician couldn't do that. You have to actually play the game and have that understanding.
You don't, though. Like, you need to know, like, is it cheaper to make a C20 dandy or to Chronopen dandy? Or not to Chronopen dandy, Chronopen Black.
The GMs for this game like 2 months of training, and they still can't answer the most basic fucking tickets.
Yeah, because
like,
the GMs aren't making them billions of dollars. Like, they're not making money on customer support. They're making money on cash shop sales. They're spending all the money. They're not paying the GMs on like the best monetization people they can get, because that's what actually fucking matters.
They're cheaping out on the GM people, right? They're not paying them anything. But those guys are doing marketing thing. They're getting at least 6 figures, at least in BDO.
I'm sure, there's several getting 6 figures. Like even like the lead producer, like the people that I met over in Korea, they just didn't demonstrate to me that they had like a deep understanding of why people play the game or how to get.
No, I agree. Like what Kurt just said. What Kurt said is totally accurate. Like I don't think it's perfectly reasonable for the developers to not know what they're doing while the monetization people do.
Like, get a group of 100 people in a room, Morland, and you say, one guy's in charge, and the other 99, you have to organize the room. I guarantee you that half people will be inefficient, at least. And then you're basically looking at the big boss on the top and saying, it's your fault, which is technically true, but he has no idea what the guy's doing over in the corner. You know, he's just, like, sweeping the floor or whatever. He has no idea.
When are they going to start selling mount skins in this game, dude? I want, like, a giant flying werewolf.
Bro, they need to do that for the tier 10 horses. And make them like $100.
How much money does WoW make off mount skins? Do we know? Do they tell people? Do they tell their shareholders?
Oh, they probably tell shareholders, not on an individual basis like that. I think they just say profits overall. I haven't looked at one though.
So apparently they listened to my feedback and fixed the female La Roseka outfit. So you're all welcome. That was me.
Oh, that was you? I appreciate that.
That was me. Yep, I did that.
Fuck you, dude. I like boob windows.
Well,
wait, isn't it a toggle now?
I only saw the red eyes. Did they change the boobs too?
I thought the boob window was a toggle now, right?
You get to choose one or two costumes.
Toggle?
So you get the original costume, and then there's 2 different quests you can do. And depending on which one you do, depends on which costume you get. So one shows off her tits, and you have your cosplay Black Spirit, and then the other one is you're actually a Black Spirit. So I think it's cool. You get to choose if you want to look like a badass or you want to have a tip view.
Just another reason why I should be in charge.
So that's a really good update. It's just a simple quest, I believe. I think once you pick one, you're locked in, so you can't go back and forth. I'm not entirely sure on that. And then they did some more horse race changes this week. So the horse race changes is there's like a fancy flag for the checkpoints, and there's like a fancy start. It looks pretty nice. I still feel like there needs to be some more mechanics in horse races to make them interesting. I need like the little drift, like the little instant cell windows, you know, like you catch like a gust of wind and your horse goes faster, or I need fire like Koopa shells at the horses in front of me or some shit, knock people off their horse. I don't know. I need something to make it a little bit more interesting. But they're still working on it anyway. I want Mario Kart in Black Desert.
What's
That's what I want.
the BDO equivalent of a Koopa shell?
Only for people to enjoy it, then they release it as a standalone game.
Oh no, dude! Horse racing scandal.
Oh, too soon.
Let's see. I mean, it has to be like a bow and arrow, or maybe a spear. Maybe you send a pet out to bite the horse in front of you.
Maybe you can use your workers.
The workers just charge ahead. Ah!
Yeah, your workers just like block the road.
Oh yeah, you could set up like workers on the side of the road to throw spears at your enemies.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun. Maybe I don't know. There need to be something that makes it more interesting. I can't just go from point A to point B and be happy. Not anymore. Not after Mario Kart. I need something better.
I don't know. I haven't tried the new horse races.
Me neither.
I think I don't know. I think they could be. It could be a cool little mini game. But it's got to
We'll have to
be.
see.
It's all about the reward structure, just like Thorn Castle.
All right. Well, I'll open this up to all you guys. That's it for Black Desert. If you guys want to talk about any other games that are on the way, what you're excited about, what are you guys playing this week?
EverQuest.
Now, like, fill people in who don't know about EverQuest, because there's a lot of people today who don't know what that is.
It's basically the first like theme park MMO that kind of created the template for like WoW and everything else that came to follow. Except it's very old, so it's way harder and way more interesting, in my opinion. It's like before everything got dumbed down and made super easy and super handholdy. And there's an emulator of the original classic version of EverQuest, and they just released the original classic first expansion, Kunark, on the emulator yesterday. So I will be playing that pretty much all week and going back in time.
What would you say is the thing you like the most about it?
Well, I mean, it's got like everything that you like from games like WoW, except it does it all better. Like it's more of a challenge. The class discrepancies are more meaningful. The world design is more interesting. The market is like, there's people who actually like openly barter. There's no auction house. The travel is more interesting and more like high stakes. The death penalties for fucking up are way steeper. Like it's just a much more kind of like slower, harder version of all the theme parks that have been copied and pasted since then.
Would you think that would
Like
be
in
like a
WoW, you basically just like spam quests from 1 to 60, and like it's not, it's kind of whatever. It's not really like challenging. There's not like necessarily a good or a bad way to do it. Like there's you have an add-on that kind of tells you what the next quest is, and it's like not that immersive. It's fine or whatever. But you're basically just rushing to 60 or rushing to whatever the max is so you can do the content at the end. In EverQuest, it's like every single level feels like endgame in some regard. Like there's some challenge that you're dealing with at that level that makes it all interesting. The entire journey is well designed. It's not just like, I have to get through this so I can do the, rating at the end sort of thing.
I really want to see a game try to bring the old type of MMO genre back, because I do think there is a community for it. Just like Path Exile is kind of like the hardcore action RPG. I feel like there's an audience that wants that hardcore MMO, and maybe it'll be just like Path Exile, where it won't be as big as Diablo or stuff like that. But I think there's definitely a core audience that would enjoy that type of thing, and if they can be satisfied with a smaller audience, I think there's several thousand people who would love playing that all the time.
Yeah, there's some chance that game Pantheon turns out to be, because it's got some of the original devs from classic EverQuest on it. But we'll see. That game's probably not going to be out for a long time. So,
yeah. Kerr, what are you doing? I know you're getting ready for finals. Are you playing anything else there in Black Desert?
Completely different genre. I've been playing Dead by Daylight for like the past 2 months.
Ooh.
That's been my main game to play.
Now that one has like it's sort of like League. You pick like an evil character to play, and you're either the bad guy or trying to survive, right?
Yeah, basically you have 4 players playing as survivors, and you have 1 player that plays as a killer. And you basically just, as a survivors, you try to repair the generators and try not to get killed by the killer and escape. And then as a killer, you try to kill them. It's been pretty cool to play a game where it's like I'm not constantly stressing about my progression and how much money I'm making per hour, and it's like you kind of just hop in and play, and there's like rankings and things like that. It's more like it's definitely a more casual game than BDO, that's for sure.
That actually reminds me of what I forgot. The other thing that I was doing this week. There's a game called Project Winter that's like kind of like Among Us, where you have two people who are imposters and you don't know who it is, and you have to go around doing tasks and fixing repair stations and trying to escape, and you have people trying to sabotage you. And we had a shitload of fun playing that game the other day.
What is it like? What's different about it from Among Us?
Well, there's actual combat, and it's like a huge map, so you don't do the meetings or anything like that. You can kill other crew, you can get weapons, you can get guns. Like you, I don't know. It's got this like similar elements of like deception and sabotage and trying to like fuck with people and get away with it as much as you can. But then on top of that, it has like actual combat, and it's all proximity voice chat, so everyone can talk in game. There's different like radios you can find, so you can be on like the yellow radio or the blue radio, and you can't see who else is on that radio, so you're not sure like who's listening to what you're saying. Like there's a lot of interesting little details that they added to it.
And what was that called again?
Project Winter. I took it as there was a bounty for it on Twitch, so I took the sponsorship, but it ended up being super fun, so we kept playing it even after the sponsorship ended.
Awesome, sounds good.
Are we gonna get you in
on Project Winter?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I've been looking for new stuff to play. I got EverQuest installed, dude.
Oh yeah, you gotta try it out.
Yeah, I was gonna play it today.
Me too. I'm playing after this.
I'm gonna try it out today. So I can look into that Project Winter, dude.
One last question for you, Kerr. What's your favorite character to play as a bad guy?
My favorite killer to play?
Yeah.
On Dead by Daylight? Definitely Spirit. She's like this I don't know what the word would be for her, but she basically can like go invisible. It's kind of bullshit. But they have like a lot of like popular killers from a lot of movies. They got like Pyramid Head from Resident Evil. They got Michael Myers from the Halloween movies. There's like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, stuff like that. I like it. It's like a guilty pleasure. I can like turn my brain off and just.
Yeah, it's like you only have a few hours, right? You can just start up the game, play a few rounds, have fun, and turn it back off. You don't have to feel guilty that you're getting offline.
Yeah. It's just like League of Legends, right? I mean, you got 30 minutes to kill, 40 minutes to kill here. You just hop in, play a game. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's all about your skill as a player, not as like your, not about your long term progression. Which is nice to get away from the MMO every now and then.
Absolutely. Biohack, what are you up to? Are you playing any other games?
Not really. Mostly, I guess the Raid is the main game I play as like a side game to BDO. I am feeling a little more relaxed now that I'm done with my 30K grind, so I don't feel like this monkey's on my back. I got to get it done, So it's kind of nice. My girlfriend just moved back in.
Oh, that's big news.
Apartment.
Congrats.
Yeah, she had to go back to the East Coast because finishing her postdoc, but then after being there for like a month and a half, they're like, we're just going to do remote basically till the end. So yeah, she just got back. So last night. So that's been good. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, not too much else. I don't know. I might get more interested in playing other stuff. Like I said, like when I was doing Rulipy, I just felt like I got to get Rulipy done. I got to get it done. Got to get it done. Because I do so much enhancing. I need that stack. And now that's done. I'm feeling a little bit more open to
every time I messaged Biohack to play Among Us, he was like, bro, I gotta do this Rulipy.
Pretty much.
I'm at 28K quest. I can't play Among Us, dude.
Yeah. Come on. Like, dude, how much enhancing I do?
I gotta get that
shit done. Yeah, it's been nice. I've been changing things up in terms of my enhancing strategies and stuff too in BDO. Like trying to
notice that you've been doing a lot of new things.
Yeah, I'm like going cronless, and I'm doing a lot more enhancing off stream, which means I made like two 250 stacks this week, and then I made one of them popped going to 280, but then I pushed I had 3 stacks near 280, so I pushed all of them up to 285. So yeah, I've got like a bunch of pen accessory stacks now. Mostly just BDO stuff, I realize, but yeah.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to Destiny 2. Personally, that's what I'm doing. Playing Destiny 2's new update, Beyond Light, comes out. So that's the only game I really have on my radar. Probably going to be doing like a drunk stream Tuesday. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it for a sub goal, but I honestly want to end the sub goal so I can set up a tip goal for the next album, because I need to. I'm basically out. I'm totally broke. I spent all my money on making the current album, so I need to start raising money for that. And I care much more about that than hitting a sub goal for a drunk stream. And so I figured I'd just do a drunk stream as a way to apologize for missing like a whole week of streaming, because my sleep schedule has been completely fucked this week. So that's my plan. Is Tuesday. I have, I think, 12 beers, and we're just going to consume them and see how long I can stay awake.
Over what time period?
I will. I don't know. Probably start off with 2-3 beers the first hour, and then probably just maintain at that point. So
Okay.
I assume that I will probably have to turn off the stream before I actually get through the entire 12 pack, because I don't really drink that often. The only time I ever drink is just for the stream, really. That's about it.
Chad, you guys are gonna have to make sure you ask Potion about all of his theories regarding Miramax and pre-orders.
Bro, my lips are sealed tight, all right? You can't get it out of me. I don't know. Why do you guys have any plans? Anything you want to announce that you guys are working towards? Give yourselves a shout out. I don't think there's anything else we want to, I have to talk about.
Just playing EverQuest with Kerr.
Hell yeah.
Yo, which class do I pick, honestly? Because I heard you were watching you stream it the other day. You were talking about, man, if we had this class, it'd be so and so would be so much easier. But I don't remember what class.
It kind of just depends on like how hard you want to go. But you could play whatever, man. Play whatever sounds fun to you. You don't want to play a class for someone else. There's warriors, tanks, healers, all the original Holy Trinity. You got support classes, utility.
Well, I want to be a support class, dude. I like healer. Is that a good idea?
There's basically 3 healers: there's shaman, cleric, and druid. We can talk about it after this.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Moro, you want to close this out?
Sure. That was episode 24 of Nerds and Words. We will be back, as always, next Saturday at 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you again very soon.